pull up a chair. This is Off the Back Porch. Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer is brought to you in part by Country Village Sporting Goods. Everything you need to get in the woods, the water, or to the camp is at Country Village Sporting Goods. Jason Hardy State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Jason Hardy at State Farm is there. And Larry's Pizza in El Dorado, home of the Double Pizza Parade.
20 plus years of bringing you the most important and latest information with local happenings, news, sports, opinions, and probably an attempt at humor. Also brought to you in part by Davis Farms Country Market. For farm to table fresh, it's Davis Farms Country Market. Cook's Body Shop. Chances are it will happen. And when it does, look to Cook's. Murphy Arts District. For the latest information on concerts and events, go to eldomad.com.
Recorded live from Main Street Pizza in historic, beautiful downtown El Dorado, Arkansas. With a history of being the voices you trust. This is Off the Back Porch with Boomer and Sandy. Or Sandy and Boomer. Or two old guys you've known for a long time, whatever. And now your hosts, Troy, Boomer, Barrios, and B.A. Sandy Sanford.
Thank you, Johnny Dean, and welcome to another edition of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, I was talking to Johnny Dean the other day, and he said...
Does he talk like that all the time?
Yes, he talks like that all the time.
I mean, that's his real voice.
Yeah.
It's not a made-up voice.
A real big voice.
Yeah.
Hi, Sandy. It's good to talk to you.
Some people have a voice for the radio.
Yeah.
I don't.
I don't either.
I have face for radio.
Ditto.
Yeah. But I talked to him the other day, he said, could you do me a favor and tell that Boomer guy to start remembering my name? I said, yeah, I'll tell him. He won't do it, but I'll tell him.
What did I not remember his name?
You're always like, big voice guy.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I know his name.
That's the same thing. Big voice guy.
And welcome to our special guest is Colt Shelby. And Colt is a candidate for governor of the state of Arkansas on the Libertarian ticket. And we'll talk about that some coming up. But thanks for coming and joining us.
No, thanks for having me.
You blew into town, man. Y'all came in fast.
Yeah, well, we had to go to the courthouse and shake hands and meet everybody, let them know that I'm running, and because a lot of people just don't know that I'm running, right? That's the biggest issue, is getting my name out there. And then once they, whether they're Democrat or Republican, Libertarian, it seems to jive real well, because I think most Arkansans have the same mindset. A majority of everybody I've met, they know we need help, and we know how to get there. We just got to get everybody going down that same tunnel, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But the biggest part is getting out and meeting people.
Sure. That's exactly it. And, and again, it doesn't hurt that you have people like Rex Nelson out there stumping for you. I'm not saying stumping for you, but just saying, hey, here's a guy you want to pay attention to.
Well, I've had a lot of good support from the things that I've done. I've not done a lot of civic duties in my past, but the things I've done made a big impact on our community. When I sued the governor and, we got representation for 86,000 people, it makes an impact. And so I think that's probably where Rex probably first seen that, plus watching us fight the prison for the last year and a half. Mm-hmm. So the name recognition is very important. And I stumbled across Dale Bumpers, a YouTube video from him from years ago. And when Dale Bumpers went into the race, he had 1% name recognition across the state. Yeah. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but Dale Bumpers originally is from the same community I'm from, Cecil, Arkansas. They moved to Charleston years after. So it's kind of an ironic story that, he never ran for public office. He ran once and lost the state rep race. And then he went straight to governor because he didn't like the way the governor was running things and didn't know what they were going to do if he didn't do something to try to fix it. So he had to do what he could. Yeah. It's a really good story. You ought to watch that.
It definitely has name recognition now.
He does now, yeah. That is funny. I was campaign manager for
Johnny Dean. By the way, hey, Johnny. I just remembered.
I was campaign manager for a guy one time, wanted to run for sheriff, and this is in Louisiana. And, sheriff in Louisiana is a big deal because they're the ex officio of the parish. Right. They're the tax collector. Right. And so anyway, this guy's, we knew of 7 announced candidates for this open seat for sheriff. So the first thing we did was a name recognition poll, and I made up 2 candidates that weren't even didn't even exist. My guy came in 9th out of 9, behind 2 people who don't even exist in name recognition.
That's not good.
So that was job 1 then.
Yeah. So job number 1. But let me tell you what he did. We told him, you got to quit. If you want to be sheriff, you got to quit your job. and you got to spend every day walking door to door throughout the parish. And he said, okay. And he did. I'm not sure how that conversation went when he went home and said, by the way,
we'll have no revenue coming into the house. So
we're going to sell our house. We're going to move in with my mother. And
run for sheriff.
And I'm going to run for sheriff, but I'm not going to have a job that entire time.
Wow.
Not a paying job.
Yeah, until I make sheriff if I win.
If I win. Yeah. So we roll around there, and we nearly won that thing in the primary. Like 47.5%.
So now he's unemployed and
well, no, he ends up in a runoff.
Oh,
and then we won like 72-18. It was a bloodletting. And then he was sheriff for
is that the guy
5
I
or
met?
6 terms.
well, I guess Magnolia did a poll on me, and haven't been to Magnolia. Haven't really been down south of much other than passing through, going to work. And Magnolia polled me at 8%.
Well, I mean, I'm assuming that would be the Magnolia Reporter with Mike McNeil.
Yep.
And of course, Mike is a diehard Libertarian.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought 8% is pretty good.
Hey, 8% is not bad for a town you hadn't stepped foot in.
No, the most that any Libertarians ever got was.
But you got a
2%.
great recognizable name, Colt Shelby.
I mean, who wouldn't vote for that?
I know, just the name. Hey, Colt, Colt's our man.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: you could be a bull rider, Colt Shelby. You could be
an old Western story.
An old Western story, yeah. Or you could
That's
be
the day Colt Shelby came to town.
At the bottom of this mine lies a big, big man. Or a musician, or a country western singer,
Or a quarterback.
I mean, there's a guy. Hey,
Or,
there is a guy named
imagine having a governor named Colt Shelby. Who would want to mess with that state? Nobody would ever. They'd be like, no, we're not messing with Arkansas.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
We're not gonna build data centers there. We know that name will not let those happen.
So, Boomer, we've got a lot of stuff to catch up on.
Okay,
you and I do. And
well, I missed half the podcast last time.
Yeah, you sure did, didn't you?
Yeah, when we had the president from the college here.
Yeah, Stephanie, she was great.
Yeah.
Trump?
No, Stephanie Tully
From the
D'Artez.
college.
She's our college president and super bright.
Yeah.
And and she's in it for the right reasons. My concern had been over the last 3 or 4 iterations of our college president here was that it would seem like these were people who this was a stepping stone on their resume. And by the way, there's that pizza just showed up over there. So you know this segment's going to be quick, right?
Yeah, it's going to be quick.
We're going to take a break real quick. But it was a stepping stone, but not for her.
Yeah.
She's
sharp,
She
man.
could live anywhere. Her husband could make a living anywhere. He's like a freaking rocket engineer. And
he's a scientific rocket.
Yeah. And so, but they choose to be here and stay here. And
Let me tell you
been
what
very
I
proud of
noticed.
having
What I
her.
noticed too is that you and I kind of get off on some tangents sometimes of being ultra conservative, and we kind of started off the podcast last time, and I don't remember the exact subject, but we were talking some pretty ultra conservative stuff.
I think we were talking about the shooting at the Correspondence Center.
Something, yeah, and I was watching her face while we were. She was going, "Oh my gosh,
What have I got
Because
myself into?
educators are a little bit more. Not a lot of them are liberal,
Well,
but-
my wife's a public educator.
Yeah,
I
that's what you
would
said.
definitely. I don't let her get into politics either because, once you start going down these holes, you end up like me and you're all in. Next thing you know, 2 years ago I was sitting there just climbing drilling rigs and chasing rigs all over the U.S. and then 2 years later I'm running for governor of Arkansas.
Yeah, that's how it happens. That's
Yeah.
how
Well,
it
but
gets you.
that's how it was meant to be. Colt.
It
That's
is.
exactly
It
right.
is.
That's what the government was supposed to be.
Yeah.
A statesman come and serves for a time and then goes back
And goes
back to work.
Goes back to work or goes
Yeah.
home and retires or
Yeah.
whatever it is.
He's not worried about raising $10 million for the next campaign.
But he doesn't go and then become a lobbyist.
Yeah.
And make it. Although some of those guys are great. They deserve to go and make a little money now. But
No, they don't. I mean, I haven't seen one that voted right and cared about the state and then went lobby and did well or had good intentions.
I know one. Well, he's not a lobbyist though. He took a position with a company as head of their governmental affairs office. So he's not a registered lobbyist. But what does he do?
Lobbies.
He lobbies,
Yeah.
But anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But I thought it was very interesting last week talking to her, and especially when we were in commercial breaks, because there were certain things I would say to her just to try to see her reaction, and see if I could get a read on her politics. Mm-hmm.
She's got to be scared to death because the General Assembly will run her off.
She was.
If you say one thing wrong, you see what they did the one in Northwest Arkansas, right?
Yeah, I read about that.
For the attorney up there, going to be over everything, and then they ran her off. So,
there was nothing she said that made me think, oh, she leans a little left.
Yeah. Or she was playing her cards close to her chest, but she seemed very middle of the road type.
That's what I thought. I thought as well. Yeah.
Where's she from originally?
South Carolina.
Oh.
And I told her, I said, except for y'all do that god awful thing to your barbecue over there.
Yeah. What is wrong with that?
Mustard based.
Yeah.
Stuff. I don't know. I love South Carolina. That is a beautiful place.
It's a beautiful place.
I just don't like the way
they do their barbecue.
Yeah.
But again, I'm a Texan.
Yeah.
And so, a native Texan, and it's different.
I'm from Arkansas. We don't complain about any food. We just eat it.
Well, I'm from South Louisiana, and they'll eat stuff.
You eat stuff that nobody eats.
And that was just not out of choice. That was because they were poor and lived in a swamp.
No, I think mostly choice at this day and time.
Well, it's choice now.
And you still eat possum and skunk. And
No. There would be no eating of possum in my house. Although we do have a raccoon festival somewhere in the state.
That is gross.
There's a possum festival too.
Is there a possum? But there's a big. Martha was talking about
raccoon. It's a dinner.
It's a dinner for politicians.
It's the name of the town starts with a G.
Yeah, I don't think they eat coon though, do they?
I thought they did.
It tastes like chicken. It tastes like kind of a greasy
My brother
fry.
cooked one in a crock pot one time.
No.
You got a barbecue.
No, you got to barbecue. Yeah, you got to barbecue that. Not a crock pot. No.
Yeah. Kind of tastes like turtle or hoot owl.
Yeah.
Or a bald eagle. Or that pileated woodpecker that they've been looking for.
Yes, they asked them Cajuns. They said. Man, them things are illegal, but how do they taste? He said, it tastes like a hoot owl.
Kind of like a hoot owl. Well, it's called Arkansas Game and Fish Commission here, and I don't remember what it's in Louisiana. Anyway, the sheriff kind of administers that, and the guy went and said they wanted 1 more month to hunt duck. And he says, well, what you going to call that? He says, well, I don't know. He said, what do you mean? He says, well, y'all hunt 12 months a year now. You get a new month, you got to get a new name.
That's pretty much true.
That didn't happen.
Now, he nearly got us arrested in Louisiana one time.
That could very well. What did I do?
Well, you were naked in the middle of the river.
Oh, my gosh. What?
It was cold and I got wet.
So you jump in the river?
We're fishing.
Totally naked.
We're fishing.
I was in my skivvies.
We get in this little tributary creek back there, and I told him, I said, "Don't bring that bait caster reel. You're not going to use that."
Yeah.
But he, Boomer does. And we're fishing in a creek that's probably only about 11, 12 foot wide.
Well, as wide as this room, maybe.
Maybe.
And I'm throwing something with a bunch of treble hooks on.
And he gets it caught for like the 8th time in a row.
Not 8 times. Best I remember.
Not that I'm keeping count, but anyways, it was too many times. And so we got the trolling motor. We're going to ease over here so he can get his lure out of this tree. Well, right there where he's starting to reach up, the trolling motor catches a stump and it does one of those.
There you go.
Face first.
Well,
in February.
The boat kept turning, and I was trying to get on the side of him to reel up and do this. Well, when the boat hit and the boat turned like that,
it'll get you.
So his top half was in the water.
Yeah,
and we yank him up out of the water because again it's February, man. That water was cold.
It was shockingly cold.
He's shivering, and he starts taking his clothes off, and my father-in-law was with us, and he said, well, I got these coveralls. And so he goes shucking clothes. Said, well, I didn't say I'd give them to you. Anyway, so he's down to nearly just what the good Lord gave him. And we hear this little put and look up, and here come 2 game wardens around the bend of that creek. And I mean,
we're laughing, and I'm naked.
This looks like a strange scene here.
I don't know if you boys got a permit for what y'all doing back here. They don't sell licenses for this.
What you boys do? And one of them had a speech impediment.
Yeah.
And, you do jokes with a speech impediment, but that's what made it. Sandy goes, "Where are you from?" He goes, "Dwally."
Zwally.
Yeah. And because I am 80% deaf in one ear, 90% deaf in the other, and so I obviously don't hear well, so I could hear his speech, but I thought it was like an accent. I didn't realize it was a speech impediment. And so I'm like, "So where are you from?" And he's like, "Dwally." But he's like, "Y'all just go ahead and finish up what y'all doing here."
Yeah,
and
we'll check your license
we'll
later.
check your licenses later.
I'm not going fishing with you.
No, and that's not the first time I fell in the water before.
Yeah,
Either.
Or the last.
Sounds like it's on purpose now.
Yeah, I just like taking my clothes off.
Oh, I fell in the water
In February.
again.
No.
Wink, wink.
Y'all, can I wear something of yours?
Ooh, all of a sudden, I don't think I want to go fishing with you anymore either.
I don't have a boat anymore.
We fish different up north.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, y'all fish differently than that.
Yeah.
And we, when he had his boat, and his wife and I, we both lived in the same community, and that was Boomer never lets us fish. He get the boat over there where he's catching them, but the ass end's out here doing all this. And
I got them front end.
That's the way you fish. That's it.
I'm just not a very good.
Why ain't you catching any? I don't know. I don't know why. But hey, Colt, true story. 4th of July, he and I are out down at Felsenthal.
We're brim fishing.
Brim fishing, National Wildlife Refuge, and we hadn't caught anything. It had been hot. Man, it had been hot. It's 4th of July. All of a sudden, little cloud cover and little breeze comes up. I'm like, oh yeah, this is gonna be nice. We're still not catching anything, but it's gonna be nice. And then the bottom falls out. And we are too far away. There's nowhere to go. We're we're there. We're stuck.
You're not going to make it.
And,
no.
Might as well just.
so we're just standing there getting wet. And I look over at him. I said, "Boomer," I said, "something's got to give here."
Sandy's got cargo pants on, and he's got water running
Coming out of the pockets.
Coming out of the pockets.
Because so much was running down my back and my front.
He said, "I got water running down my coin slot."
Something's got to give, man. He pulled us. I'm telling you, it wasn't 4 foot.
It was there.
Closer to the
Right
bank.
there.
He pulled us 4 foot closer to the bank. And all of a sudden, we catching them just like
Every time. We just got right on top of them.
got right on top of
bed,
them brim beds. And well, the thing was, we didn't have time to clean them. It was like, we don't have time to clean these because we had to come back to town to do a live broadcast from a festival that was going on here in town. And it was a hamburger cook-off contest.
Yeah.
So we're going back to the boat ramp, and there's some people he knows, and it's like, "Hey, y'all want some fish?" They're like, "Yeah," and we dumped.
He goes, "Oh my!"
Yeah.
We had like 70.
Yeah.
we dumped them a good load in there.
You didn't hear that Game and Fish Commission?
Well, you can catch you catch 50 apiece.
Oh, can you?
And he had him and his wife and his couple of grandkids.
Yeah,
of course, the little ones, the 1 year old. Yeah, boy, just
yeah.
little fish
He caught all them there.
Yeah, little fish slayer
That
right
was
there.
him right there. So. Yeah.
He's praying.
Now, for those who are watching, you're wondering, that's Colt's dad.
Yeah, he goes everywhere I go.
And well, it sounds like he needs to.
Yeah, well, Sanders has got $4 million a year worth of bodyguards. I've got
Dad.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dad. That's still expensive.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Boomer, we got some notes from some of our listeners, our viewers, and I'm sorry, I was running behind today, and I didn't go back and looked at who sent them and where they were from.
Okay.
But it was like, "Dear Sandy and Boomer, did I catch that correctly? During the Florida Man segment, did Boomer actually defend the guy saying, well, he had his reasons?" I don't remember that.
I don't remember that one either.
I don't remember. It's been so long since we've done a Florida Man. So,
Yeah.
Do you know what a Florida Man is?
No.
So there's this game. We started playing it on the radio
Long
years
time
ago.
10, 15 years ago.
Just go to Google and type Florida Man, and then put any month and date you want to behind
Not
that.
a
Not
year.
year, just
Month, day.
March 13 or
And it'll
whatever.
be the god-awfulest, weirdest story. You
Really?
got some guy riding a motorcycle with a monkey on the back, and he's got orange hair, and he's flagging people.
Does that work with any state, or is it
No,
just,
it's
just Florida Man.
It's
Florida
Florida.
Man.
It'll be some weird stories.
You may have to go to the second or third thing that shows up on
You'll
Google, but
find it.
you'll find one, and it doesn't matter the day.
Yeah.
And I mean, some of the best ones, the guy who he was trying to steal a plastic flamingo out of somebody's yard. And
is this part of y'all show y'all do every week?
Yeah.
Y'all type in Florida Man?
Yeah, just type.
Yeah, we don't do it on the live on
You
the
can,
air, but
though. Go look. Hey,
go
let's
ahead.
prove it. Florida Man. And then you can just put whatever month and day you want to.
I'll do my birthday.
And then you'll start seeing.
That's not too bad.
You'll start seeing as you scroll through there, just crazier and crazier stories. And
Read one.
Okay, this was on March 28, 2025. A Florida man dressed as Ronald McDonald was arrested for trespassing in Palm Bay, according to TMZ. When police noted he looked like a clown, he reportedly replied, "No, I am a clown." That was it.
yeah.
See,
Yeah,
Just random.
Oh, and of course, there was the guy who they arrested out in the parking lot of a laundromat, and because he was scared that someone had put too much money in the vending machine inside the laundromat and it opened a portal to hell, and he's out in the parking lot freaking out, and the cops come and arrest him, so he fights the cops, which never ends well, and then when all was said and done, he blamed it on. He ate some expired moon pies. That's what happened.
I've never ate one.
Well, if you've ever eaten them.
So maybe it is.
Yeah.
My thing is I said, no, he was snorting that stuff what killed Elvis. Is what he was doing.
Yeah, or some of them bath salts.
Have you ever ate an expired moon pie?
No.
Okay, so we can't prove that.
That's because when I see grass growing out of a moon pie, I don't eat it.
That's not so good. Yeah.
White grass or brown grass.
Yeah,
I don't eat it.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, I love it when y'all do lists from the 80s, but seriously, every 80s list turns into Boomer trying to remember the name of a band or saying the wrong movie. It's like, no, Boomer, Tom Cruise wasn't in that one.
Okay. And that's true. It is true.
Does he pick these, which ones he wants to read every week? Is that what's going on?
No. He just goes right down the list.
Well, the reason I'm asking, because it sounds like he's bullying you a little.
Oh, you didn't hear the letter that came in last week.
Was it good?
Yeah, the woman said...
Was it Sandy or Boomer?
It was one for each of us. But it was
that was the week before was his, and last week was mine. And if I recall correctly, if this woman was
a child of God.
If this woman was in charge, my fat ass, as she said, my fat ass would be sent to a re-education
center. So we know where she's from, wanting to re-educate the citizens.
And said
she's not from south of the Mason-Dixon line.
She said, you and your orange president just want people to die.
Wow. I'm afraid. I don't know if
mine was, did you decide 30 years ago you were going to be an old, cranky, angry old man?
Angry old white man.
Angry old white man.
So y'all brought me on the show so I can see what I get bashed on next week.
Oh, they won't bash you.
They won't?
No, they'll like you.
They'll like you.
They'll feel sorry for you for coming on here.
See, and that's the other thing. People just, if you've never watched our podcast, then you're more apt to come to our podcast.
Right.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Sandy, you have my sympathies. To me, it appears that you try to keep the 80s list balanced, and Boomer's always like, if AC/DC isn't number one, this list is invalid. Which every time
Michael McDonald, that's who's number one on my 80s list.
Every time I do a list, Boomer's like, oh, no, I don't. Where'd this list come from? And I'm like, well, it was Reddit.
Well, if I don't understand, if I don't know him, then
something. And he's like, oh, that list isn't valid.
If I don't know him.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, the podcast should be renamed Back Porch Debates, 80s edition, featuring occasional current events. Dear Sandy and Boomer,
I just play a stupid person on the podcast.
Dear Sandy and Boomer, my granddaughter asked me why y'all are always doing lists from the 80s. I told her y'all were just revisiting your youth in real time.
There you go.
That's pretty much true.
That's pretty much true.
Why wouldn't we do lists from the 80s?
The 80s were, besides the 70s, the 80s were the bomb.
Yeah, I don't remember a whole lot about the 70s.
Well, you're not 70.
Yeah, because I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember a whole lot about the 80s.
Apparently, by that list, we could tell.
Wow. That was the decade of excess.
Yeah. It was, yes.
And I haven't always been a nice guy.
That's right. Yeah. I ain't always been saved, baby. I'm just saying. Yeah. All right, let's take a break, and because
There's pizza.
There's pizza over there, and plus we have all these sponsors that we have to get in here as well. But we will be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
For longer than most of us can remember, Timber Lane Meat Market has been a staple of our community, where quality meats and friendly faces come standard. From everyday dinners to weekend cookouts, make it fresh, make it local, make it Timber Lane. Be sure to check out the daily lunch specials and like us on Facebook. Timber Lane Meat Market, 1336 West Hillsboro in El Dorado. Proud to be part of South Arkansas, and even more proud to be displayed on your table.
When the long weeks, paychecks are cashed, where we gonna spend it, buddy? You ain't gotta ask. When the neon lights are kicking on, all of us are headed to a home away from home. It don't look like much, but we're pretty damn smart for some good old boys that can't pass the bar.
A new shipment of express boats is in at Country Village Sporting Goods. Or maybe your boat just needs a little TLC. We have appointments available in our service department. And of course, we keep a great selection of Catalina campers. New baits, new tackle, and the latest in gear are arriving every week. So when we say everything you need to get to the water, the woods, or the camp, you know we're talking about Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado. Like us on Facebook.
For over 6 decades, Glenn Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations, family-owned and operated since 1956. Glenn Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlennMechanical.com.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
What if I get in a fender bender?
State Farm's there with the assist.
Jersey swap?
Jersey swap.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Oh, I'm feeling this.
I assisted with security things. Swap.
I assisted with popcorn.
Swap.
Get that jersey.
Get your corn there.
Yeah, I assisted myself by filing a claim on the State Farm app.
Swap.
In my halftime show, I had...
It's a great story.
We're done swapping. Too late, circus man.
State Farm with the assist.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, I am, it's because it's getting closer, I'm getting excited. June 4th, we have an event coming up that we're putting on called Calling the Hogs. Stories from the Booth. Chuck Barrett's coming. He's the voice of the Razorbacks. And our special MC of the night is going to be Rex Nelson. And they're going to talk about, just those things that happen in the booth and behind the scenes. And I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a great event.
Yeah. Martha said I need to get tickets for that. Is there going to be tickets?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Eldomad.com.
Okay.
Go to eldomad.com. It's a catered event, so tickets are $50 now. You have to pay sales tax, and there's a
Ticketmaster gratuity.
Yeah, something like that. But again, it's going to be catered. Madhouse 101 is doing the catering.
Yeah. And what venue is it going to be in?
At First Financial Music Hall.
It's going to be the big hall there.
Yeah.
That'll be well attended.
I think so too. I think it will be as well. And there's only 500 seats available.
Yeah.
Because we're doing a meal as well.
Yeah.
And so you'll need to get your tickets as soon as they pop up at eldomad.com.
And that's on June the
4th. Thursday, okay. June the 4th. And then Friday, June the 5th, Chuck will be doing his portion of the Chuck and Bo Show live from Mystic Creek.
Okay.
Yeah. And Poor Boy's flying him down here.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Well, good.
One of my best friends in the whole world next to this guy is a guy by the name of Mike Poor, lives in Greenbrier.
Poor boy.
Poor boy.
And
who isn't poor?
He's not now.
At one time.
He was.
He probably was a poor boy.
I'd call him up. I'd say, man, you're the poorest poor of all the poor people I know.
He's got a beautiful wife still. I mean, he's between your age and my age, I think.
Yes, yeah.
And he said he had to whip all her brothers in order to take her and marry her. Said he had to whip them all.
Yeah. Her brothers or her cousins.
Her uncles. He said he had to beat a whole bunch of people up to get married her. True story.
But he wasn't a good guy then, though.
No.
That was BC. That was before Jesus. So he wasn't a good guy. Mm-hmm. And she was a preacher's kid.
I know.
And so you know how that goes. Yep. Preacher's kids.
That's a whole
I got
some
stories.
Yeah, no.
I'm never going to tell.
No.
I signed some NDAs on some of this stuff. Hey, my husband's going to run for Congress, and I need to know what you would say if anyone ever called you. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, nothing.
No recognition.
I didn't have any idea either, but I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah. So, is there going to be another debate that you're hosting too?
Yes, come this fall, we will host, for the first time ever that I can find in El Dorado history, there will be a U.S. Senate debate held here. We are also hoping to hold a gubernatorial debate that same night.
Oh, I'll be here.
You're here. Then.
I'm in, bud.
We do have confirmation from.
What's the date?
I think it's October 16th. I think.
Well, if PBS ain't around AETM, we don't have that one, but we do have one coming up for the governor's race, and I believe the Secretary of State race, June 26th in Eureka Springs. But only Fred Love, as far as governors go, Fred Love and myself, Sanders is. I've been antagonizing her on everything, X, Facebook. I want her. I mean, she needs to come. She needs to show her face, and she ought to be able to represent her platform. If she thinks she's done so good for the state of Arkansas, she needs to come in front of a Democrat and Libertarian and prove it.
Now, look, I'll be real honest with you, Colt. A broken clock's right twice a day.
Well, it is.
So not everything she's doing is wrong.
No, well, not everything, but a majority of the things.
You have your issues.
I've got a lot of issues.
I know you do.
It isn't just one; it's a lot. And the things that she promotes and says is doing so well is not doing well. It's just if you don't, for the normal person that don't pay attention, it looks really good. But if you pay attention and you use your calculator or you look into it, there's always something not right.
Well,
and I ask people. So you say she's done good things.
I think she has on some things.
Give me an example.
Well, for example, I like tax cuts.
Oh, perfect. I love people talking about tax cuts. Which one?
Yeah. I'll take any of them.
Okay, any of them? They're good. But did they save...
it's not saving me a lot of money.
It saves you nothing. It doesn't help the average Arkansan.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
A few $100 a year. A couple $100.
If you're lucky. And a 4.9 down to 3.7. I think they're gonna okay that one today. But you're looking at saving about $40 a month for the average Arkansan. How much has groceries went up the last 4 years?
Yeah.
How much has insurance went up the last 4 years? How much has the everyday cost of living went up the last 4 years?
I get it. But again, let me play devil's advocate for just a second, okay?
I want to hear it.
All right. When have they ever gone down? When has insurance ever gone down? When has groceries ever went down?
Why have they not?
Never. They
Great
never
question.
have. Why have they not?
Don't know.
California can do it.
Can do what?
They made theirs go down. Prop 103. Look it up.
Made their what go down?
The insurance. In the 80s.
Well, okay, which would explain now why they can't get coverage. They're kicking State Farm out, by the way.
It's because if you look at what they did, so we were talking about lobbyists earlier, right?
Yeah.
So have you ever seen the insurance lobbyists go down there?
Oh, I'm very familiar with insurance lobbyists.
Okay, so they're like leeches down there.
They're about the most powerful lobbyists that exist.
And they bring lawyers with them, okay? So what we need is somebody, a liaison, elected official, not unappointed, to be over that insurance for Arkansas to help drive these prices down, because insurance is fixing to be a huge debate in this state, and we ain't acted on it. Y'all are familiar with the Big Beautiful Bill?
Yes.
And they are cutting federal funding for Medicaid and Medicare. Mm-hmm. What are we going to do?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to bite the bullet.
What's our plan? I mean, we know it's coming, there's zero plans.
I haven't heard of one.
There isn't one. Nobody knows one. So it'll either be a mass genocide of Arkansans, because we're not going to have the money. We keep doing these tax cuts. That's great. It saves you $8 this month if you make $47,000. But that it's
47,000. Those people are rich.
God, they're rich.
That's just the rich getting richer, bro.
It is. Even a person that makes good money, use your calculator, figure up your salary, divide it by 12, and times that by 1.2, and that's how much you've saved the last 4 years. Simple math. Everybody looks at that like it's great. Or the grocery tax. Pretty proud of that.
See, I've never. Now, there's one tax that I've never liked. Of course, I grew up in Texas where there is no tax on groceries, which I've always thought was wrong. Because to me, sales tax is one of the some people, it's the only tax they pay. Mm-hmm. Right. Think about it. If you live in public housing and you get energy assistance and you get WIC and SNAP benefits and Medicaid and
crazy check,
just name it all.
You get one of those, Boomer?
I could.
Eligible.
I'm eligible, but I don't take it.
But they don't pay property taxes.
No.
You know.
Louisiana's got homestead exemption.
Well, Arkansas does too, but it's small. But
So then the only time they're going to pay tax if you're at that bottom level is when you buy something.
When you buy taxable goods.
When you buy taxable goods, yeah.
And so I've never been a huge proponent of cutting the sales tax on food.
Well, you know, and then there's always let's do a level tax.
The state tax on groceries. Y'all seen that, right? Y'all seen how great that was? She brought out that $19,000 podium to talk about it. It was a big deal across the state.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember the podium.
Yeah. Well, she brought that $19,000 podium that we paid for.
They won't let that go, will they?
No.
How do you let it go? I mean, it's the first sign of corruption within her first term. Yeah. So, and then you talk about saving an Arkansan 0.125% on their groceries. Use your calculator, folks. You know, that is 1/8 of a cent. It is, you take that $200, you times it by 0.125%. And you may save, 25, 26 cents at the grocery store for every $200? It's savings. It's great.
Yeah.
But that is not helping the lower middle class Arkansans.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We need real answers, real solutions.
Most of the state is.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we're a poor state.
We are a poor state. And
thank God for Louisiana, Mississippi.
And, you know, if you look all the way back to the 80s, when Clinton was the president, we had the same exact problems.
He wasn't president in the 80s. He was governor.
Or governor, I'm sorry. Governor. Yeah. When he was the governor, we have the exact same problems today as we did in the 80s. Why?
It's kicking the can.
It's been Democrats. It's been Republicans. Why do we keep having the same problem? We're still at the bottom of the list and everything. Mm-hmm. The only difference now is we spend more money doing it.
Yeah.
You know,
So back to that good thing.
Because I lived through the No Child Left Behind. Which some kids need to be left behind. But anyway.
They do. No, you're right. And I agree.
No. You know, so I didn't have a lot of faith in the LEARNS Act.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, and I am not well versed on it, okay? I do have an educator in my family. You have an educator in your family.
My wife, yeah.
And I've not seen a lot of good come out of it.
Well, the problem is it's hurt a lot more people than it's helped. And, you know, we want to help our kids. And we need public educators to help our kids. We don't need a guy from a privatized school coming from Florida to tell us how we need to raise and teach our Arkansas kids. Now, something that was hard for me because I lived in a perfect bubble in my life, right? I've been really fortunate in my career field. I've been real fortunate in my life. But I'm also have been around the U.S. and I realize that not everybody is the same and not everybody's had that opportunity. So, you know, as a libertarian, we want smaller government, less government handouts. But I'm running this campaign off Arkansas values. I realize that people do need help, but they also need opportunities to get out of that position that they're in. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so if you look at it, like, what can we do to help these people? Who knows better than the people up front, the local control? So that's something that I'm trying to push really hard is more local control, and that's from your school boards, your superintendents, your principals. The ones in West Memphis have a completely different culture of kids than what we do in Northwest Arkansas, in Cecil, Arkansas. We're a very poor place. There's about 6 schools right there where my wife teaches at public education. And our school, I say ours because I went to school there, actually outperforms all the surrounding schools It's because my wife teaches there.
Yeah.
No, it's because, and I
Got
asked
an
her, I was
attaboy
like,
there.
how come County Line does better than Paris and Boonville and Ozark and Lavaca? And the only other school that does better in the whole district is Greenwood, but it's not a poverty school. So
No.
Yeah.
it's
The University of Greenwood.
Yeah, it pretty much is. It's
Yeah.
a really good school, and it'd be a hard school to beat. So, but County Line is comparable to these other schools surrounding. And what we have is we have smaller classroom sizes. And, well, I asked my wife this, hey, how come we're doing so much better? And it's, we have smaller classroom sizes. We provide things, we take the adult problems out of the child's life. So they do breakfast, free lunch, but they also do an after-school food to take home with them. They do a free backpack programs, and I know a lot of schools do these things, but it is a handout, but it's a good handout that helps these. It's not the kid's fault what family they were born into.
Yeah.
And we can't change the parents, but what we can change is the students. And some of these schools that are wanting a pre-K system, this tax cut would have paid for a pre-K all across Arkansas.
Yeah, and the way that went down, the way that was handled. Look, we live in a democratic republic, so the majority rules.
It does.
That's just that's the law of how we do business. Okay, and I'm okay with that as long as we are competing in the same arena of ideas, and that's not what happened on that. That was a bully pulpit.
Everything that's been done these last 2 sessions has been a bully pulpit. Every single thing that goes through that General Assembly is a bully pulpit. And they're not even quiet about it. Like, they're very open. You talk to your state rep, talk to your state senator, they'll tell you, and the bad thing is she's wishy-washy. She'll say do this, just like the PBS deal. She'll say do this, and then she's like, no, we want to get rid of PBS. Well, then they got that deal offered to them and whatever, so everybody's against PBS because the governor don't want it. Well, then they make that deal. Carlton Wing did a fantastic job on that.
They're funded. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so the governor brings them all in and goes, hey, I want that. And so that's why you've seen the vote shift. And we're running under a dictatorship. And
yeah, I have an issue. And again, I've worked in governor's offices before, and I have an issue with the governor telling the legislature what to do or the legislature telling the governor what to do. You are two separate entities constitutionally for a reason.
Yeah, well, it's not just that. It's why did the governor hit the most expensive boards first? The Board of Corrections. It took her 2 years, 3 years to take it over, but she took it over. Yeah. And I know Sonia Barker somewhere around here, this area. Well, her son. Do y'all know the story behind that?
No, go ahead.
Would you this is take a little minute to fill in all the details. Okay.
Brother, I ain't got anywhere to be.
Okay, good. So in 20, and my timeline might be a little bit off, but 22, 23, we hired a guy named Joe Porfiry. And y'all probably seen that on the news where we tried to get him fired. Terry Rice was leading charge. So we're paying this guy over $200,000, $263,000 a year with benefits. His salary is like $190. And he originally was the Board of Corrections secretary. Well, then the board fired him because he wanted to do crazy things. He wanted to do the same thing he did in Arizona. He wanted to put too many inmates in too little jails, which is illegal. And the Board of Corrections like, no, we're going to stick with the law. We're not going to do that. Because this was a solid Board of Corrections. They were law-abiding, been doing it for 40 years. Benny Magnus is a really good friend of mine. He was the chair at this time. So they fired Joe Porfiry. Well, what does our governor do? Well, she brought him from Arizona and appointed him in that position. She takes him, puts him under her wing, and gives him a raise. So now he's covered under FOIA because she covered up her FOIA her first year. So we can't see anything that goes on through the governor's office. Now, you got to think of this whole time, we're fighting the prison, so I'm super engaged with this. So then all this happens. Well, Benny retired December of last year. And 2 other of the members dropped out for known reasons, but unknown reasons, right? It was like, hey, you're either going to drop out or this is going to come out. So that left 3 open positions. So her staffer's name was Jamie Barker, which is Sonia Barker's son. Jamie was a staffer for Sanders. Within 2-3 weeks' time, he joined Barker Davis Strategies, Gilmore Davis Barker Strategies. When I say joined, he partnered with one of the biggest lobbying groups in the state of Arkansas. Okay? The next week, Sanders appoints him on the Board of Corrections. Okay? You see where this trend's going? because he couldn't be both. So now he's over the Board of Corrections, over $700 million worth of contracts. That's the second lobbyist that's unqualified, knows nothing about the corrections facilities, over $700 million worth of contracts. Why would you do that? Why would you put two lobbyists in charge of that? That just doesn't make sense. The only thing they have to do with the prison system is they probably need to behind them bars. That's the only thing I can think of. And the next one was Boyce Homlet, which 20 years ago, he worked for the state police, Tom Mars, which is a big attorney in Arkansas, used to be. And Tom Mars actually fired him for cheating on his police exam. And then the other one was working for Secretary of State Cole Jester, Nathan Lee. Nathan Lee is a tricky one. Got a great resume. Worked for the state police, Secret Service, Secretary of State's office. Young, great, and a lawyer to add on to all that. But when he worked for the state police, he did the sign-on bonus for $5,000 and didn't commit through and took the $5,000 and quit. I have a little problem with that. You know, it's integrity. Mm-hmm. I know not everybody's born with it, but they need to have a little bit because these things do follow you in life. So Nathan Lee got appointed the same time Jamie Barker did, December 31st, 2025. Well, the Constitution reads at least one member of the Board of Corrections is an employee at a four-year college in the state of Arkansas. Nathan Lee hired on with John Brown University January 1st, 2026. And his job title is Distinguished Guest Lecturer, Criminal Law. I know, right? So me, being, just the Colt Shelby I am, I called John Brown University. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for a job. And they're like, well, what are you doing? They could tell I'm not an attorney, of course, right? And I'm like, well, I want to be a distinguished guest lecturer, justice law. And she goes, and she was laughing. This HR lady laughs at me and goes, sir, that is not an employee position. But Nathan Lee got in front of the Board of Corrections before they swore him in and said he was that. And so if y'all haven't watched the Board of Corrections stuff going on, I highly recommend you look back into it because they're still under lawsuit. And it's kind of the weirdest lawsuit ever because...
Oh, no, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
I guess I need to look at Florida. But so that's where we're at today. You know, we're appointing these people that aren't qualified. So when the senators voted to keep Joe Porfiry, I text a senator that I like. He's a Democrat. Because the Republicans that I trust and that I'm for, we're all against him because they knew it was a waste of tax dollars. But one of the Democrats that I really trust, and I always like his viewpoint. You know, I don't agree with everything he does, but I usually like to see his point of view. So I call him and I was like, hey, why did you vote like that? And he goes, well, Colt, if you was the governor, I would support you if you thought you needed somebody over corrections. And I was like, no, because if I was governor, I would have appointed a good board and a good secretary where I didn't need to add another job to the list. I was like, that's the difference. You guys keep bailing her out for this stuff and just keep adding government, costing the taxpayers more money. And I'm against that. I think that's a waste of your dollar, and my dollar. And then we're worried about saving $8 a month. So I don't understand that part of it. But anyway, I know I get off topic there on the Board of Corrections.
No, that was not off topic.
Yeah,
it wasn't at all.
It gets me really heated up because of the way that works. So I'm still waiting to hear the devil's advocate side of why this governor's good. And I don't care who tells it to me.
I didn't say she was good. I said a broken clock's right twice a day. Not everything she's done is wrong.
I haven't seen the right yet. And I've been looking for somebody across this state to find something. One guy did bring up the vouchers was good. And you brought that up earlier. We were talking about public education. Why is the vouchers good? 85% of those are going to families that were already going to private school anyway. That tells me we're not helping kids. I'm about helping the children of Arkansas. If these kids were already going to private schools, guess what? They wasn't struggling. They wasn't struggling at home.
That's a generalization that I think is incorrect.
Private schools will kick you out if you're struggling. Most.
You're making a generalization, though.
Most.
I'm telling you, I'll speak from experience. There were things that my wife and I just decided we will do without X and X and X so that our child could attend a particular school. And now that child is now in public school, and I'm a huge proponent of public school, mainly because El Dorado has one of the best school districts in the state, in my opinion.
No, now you're going against our district, bud.
Well, how many are y'all sending to college for free?
I know. I love that about this place.
So
that's called the
El Dorado Promise.
El Dorado Promise.
Murphy USA is a huge.
It was Murphy Oil.
It was Murphy Oil. That did it.
Well, Murphy Oil. We need a Murphy Oil where we live.
Yeah, everybody does.
Let me just say, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago. I have a daughter who graduates law school in a couple weeks.
Right.
Has cost me.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
That is amazing.
My oldest son has a bachelor's from OBU.
He
went to OBU. Not a cheap school, by the way. This much is what it cost me. My son, who is the civics and
what else? Is
history teacher.
See,
Yeah.
y'all hide all these good secrets down here.
No,
in
we
El
weren't
Dorado.
hiding them at all.
No,
brother. We wanted.
People are moving out of El Dorado,
I know,
which blows
and-
my mind, because if parents really cared about education and they wanted to put their kids through something so y'all have good public education.
Donnie, how much did your son's degree cost you?
I mean, I was fortunate they had scholarships also.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that is amazing.
You know,
but everybody don't have that option, but they can move to El Dorado and have that option.
Yeah.
My son, who's a teacher, he will receive his master's in December of this year. $0.
That's awesome.
And my 18-year-old's about to go to college. I hadn't had to write a check yet. You know, it's just that's why I say we've got the best school district in the state. But
that is hard to beat. That would be hard to beat.
That, though.
Yeah.
We've got, in my opinion, we have
Do you have a good school board?
fabulous superintendent, and we've got, for the most part, a very reactive, active listening school board.
Okay, so you got a good school board,
a good
superintendent, good principals,
local. That's what you're getting at.
and good teachers.
Yes.
And that is what it takes to make a good school.
I agree. I 100% agree.
You know, but I don't know how the culture is around here, if y'all have different types of cultures and problems and troubles. And I don't even know what the school grade was. Did you see what it was? Do you know?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
I can look later.
Yeah.
Because I am kind of curious, because I kind of compare those where I go. And usually the environment, you can usually tell what what it's going to be.
Our district is a minority majority. And that brings a set of challenges, and the ways that what I appreciate about El Dorado School District is, if you have a child who's struggling, there normally, especially when we were growing up, there was only two ways. You could either just forget about them, or ship them off to special classes and forget about them.
Yeah, resource.
Yeah.
So I like resource, and I'll tell you why. Because what that did, that brought that distraction out of that classroom. And they went to their own room, and they were different grade levels, all in there. But what that teacher did was taught them a skill that they could use in life. They could count by the time they graduated school. I thought I hear something talking.
What the heck? How did that happen?
I don't know.
Joe Rogan podcast going over my.
Y'all listen to us. Yeah. So, but you know, it took that distraction out of the classroom for the teachers, so they could teach their class, the ones that would listen. But it gave those kids, you know, that are going to be your tellers, that are going to work at your dollar stores, your Harps, your local grocery store, your Kroger's, whatever it is. But it gave them a skill set. But now we're not getting that, because we're wanting to fast track them through. No child left behind.
Yeah, no child left behind.
And then we've got straight A students all across this state that can't give you your change back.
Yeah. Oh, listen.
And it's true. And I blame Common Core math on that, because have y'all tried that?
Well, it was long before Common Core math. You know, I mean, literally, it was 1998, and I have a reason I know that. But
how do you know that?
No, I don't want to talk about that. But it was 1998, and I was in a Burger King in Athens, Texas, and it was $13 and some change, and I hand her a 20, and it took her 4 tries to get me the right change back. And finally, I was like, "Would you like some help?" And she said, "Yes, please." And I said, "Okay, $6.17. That's what you're supposed to give me back." She still got it wrong.
or if your bill is $9.93 or $10.93, okay, and you give her a 20 and a 1, that blows her mind.
Yeah.
I said, well, the one's for the change, and the 20 so I can get a 10 back.
Yeah.
I said, just put the numbers in. Just that you received $21, and it'll tell you how much to give me. Yeah, it'll blow their mind. Because we were taught, my age group was taught, you count it back. You don't say, okay, your change is $6. Okay, this is 93, 94, 95, 20. And so you count it back instead of.
And then you're right, and your register's good at the end of the night.
That's right. The thing that I see is we're trying to make sure no child's left behind, and you end up with children at the high school level who read at a 4th grade level.
Yeah.
If they read at all.
And we're losing across the nation against other countries.
Oh yeah.
As a whole.
We can't find other countries. We're so far behind on that. But what we can do is, what I care about most is we help our children be successful adults, and regardless of the grades. We want good grades. I know we got good teachers, we got good people in everywhere we go. But
y'all come on through. You're not bothering us.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't matter what school you're in. Different schools need different things, and we got a one-size-fit-all shoe.
Yeah.
Last I looked, we had 256 folks working in the Board of Educations at $33 million to be failing every time. It's time for a restructure. And I don't mean we need to hire people from Florida, people from Arizona. We need to hire Arkansans that know Arkansan schools, and then we need to get closer to those schools and find out what they need to be successful. Because y'all's school isn't going to need as much as West Memphis.
Well, we're going to need plenty, but what we're going to need is going to be different than what West Memphis needs.
It is. And you got a Murphy.
Yeah,
well, that is amazing. Yeah, that promise.
I mean, as far as I know, it's only the 2nd place in the entire United States that's ever been done.
Yeah, one up north somewhere in Michigan.
Kalamazoo.
Yeah,
that's where the El Dorado promise is based off of the Kalamazoo promise. And what we did when we were planning and doing all this, there were some people in our committee who they went to Kalamazoo and they said, "Okay, you've had this going now for a little while. What are some mistakes that you made?" And I think if you came back and asked, a lot of that committee's dead now, but if you came back and asked that committee today, they would tell you some mistakes that we made that we could have and should have done differently.
I don't know. It sounds like they got it done pretty good.
I was a huge proponent, and at the time, I was relegated to a corner, but I was a proponent for, look, not every kid needs to go to college. They don't.
No. That's right. We need the vocational schools, and because we
weren't paying for them.
Well, they are now, and they have been for years.
Yeah, I'm saying the El Dorado promise was.
It
wasn't paying for VOTEC.
Right, I got you.
And,
the state does that.
Yes.
And they don't have to. The state's done that for many, many years because they know we got a shortfall in heat and air folks. We got a shortfall in plumbers,
electricians,
welders,
all truck drivers,
great paying jobs that are out
nurses.
There. But we don't push it enough in the schools. Right? We don't have
because we tell them, if you don't go to college, you're going to wind up flipping burgers. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, not burger flippers, but I know people who wait tables that make more now than I've ever made at my highest income level in my life, and that was well into 6 figures.
Oh, wow.
And these people wait tables and make that. We cannot live our life in a ongoing series of shaming people into doing what we want them to do.
Yeah.
Again, it's what I was saying a while ago. Used to, they just take a kid and he would just always end up in the office, or he would end up in special classes, and the rest of the class went on. What I appreciate, at least from what I see in the El Dorado School District, is, okay, you got the 3 of us here. We all 3 are of different intellects. Although Boomer's and mine probably much lower than yours, but so you're one of the smarter kids in the class. So there is a day of the week that you get to go over to a different school. You get to go to the GT school, and you're there with some kids from that other elementary school over there who are smart, and the elementary school and some kids who are smart, and y'all come together and y'all get to do things that's really cool and fun. And by the way, you're learning.
Yeah.
And you're being challenged. And that's the biggest thing. Look, when I was in elementary school, I was in 1st grade for 6 weeks, and they moved me to 2nd grade. I got to 3rd grade, and they tried to move me to 5th, and my dad wouldn't let them. He's like, no. He's already socially going to be a year behind.
Right.
I can't
Good call,
do that.
Dad.
Yeah, it was a good call. But hey, I made up for it. I went to 6th grade twice. So,
well, I'm a little different. I quit school in the 3rd grade because they had recess. I was there to learn, not play.
Okay.
Let's see that get used as a campaign clip.
But you know, there are other countries that value the trades. You go to Germany, a machinist is valued.
Oh my gosh, it is an art.
Well, you know why though? Because they take pride.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They take pride in those things.
I mean,
that's why they build cars a lot better than we do in the United States.
It's amazing.
Do we actually build any in the United States anymore? I know we assemble them.
We assemble them when they're built in Mexico or Canada
or China China.
But yeah, so those are some of the things that I'm looking at when I'm running. It's I want to help the lower middle class. I want access to our state government. I've learned this along the way, right? Because and I probably didn't talk about the prison battle, but so what happened was they wanted to put a 3,000 bed prison in our community of 300 people. Now I'm 6th generation here. Me and the bank own 240 acres there. This was going to be the way I live the rest of my days. Now they're wanting to put a prison 4 miles away from my house with 800 people traveling back and forth daily. It's going to put 800 people to work. Now, one was the lack of transparency. They had 4 counties that wanted this prison that donated land for free, but
that's what I was going to ask you. I knew that was basically the first time I heard your name. It was about the prison,
right?
And I don't know how everyone else feels, but there's a lot of counties in Arkansas that would love to have 800 jobs.
Scott County's got 3 lakes, so it's got 3 good water sources. It's got 2,000 acres, and it's 5 miles from the closest home. This was so poorly built. There's 29 homes that join this property that they were looking at. And I know nobody cares about people, mostly in the state government, but that should affect everybody. Imagine that happening to you. Mm-hmm. And that's the way I try to put myself when I see a situation. The data centers, the wind turbines, and the solar panels, same case scenario. There is a right way and a wrong way to do it. And what Arkansas is doing right now is wrong the way we're doing our people. I think the community is not getting enough input and enough accurate information when things come to town.
And so you're saying there's lack of transparency?
It's huge lack of transparency. It's across the state. I mean, you probably aren't familiar with what's happening up in northwest Arkansas. It's like the prison. The prison took us a year to get it out. So we did beat it in the fiscal session. We had enough conservative senators that voted it down. And so that $750 million appropriation didn't ever pass. But they were still moving forward because they had $75 million allocated from Calico Rock to that. So they had $75 billion to do all the tests, but they would not quit. And then they kept putting money until they put $1.3 billion in and actually got a culvert done. And finally, people went to Sarah like, hey, this is ruining your political career. You better pull out. And finally she did. She put it on hold. She still thinks it's the best spot because it doesn't have a good infrastructure. It doesn't have no good roads going to it. There's no emergency facilities out that way. Plus, we just lost one in Fort Smith, the maternity ward, but whatever. That's a big deal going on too. And then there's no water. So no roads, no water, no electricity, and we want to build a 3,000 bed prison on a community that don't want it. Now, what part of that sounds good and good governing? None of it. And we've tried to reach her for 2 years, couldn't get a hold of her, so I have to run for governor just to get in front of her enough to ask her questions. Her staffers, they wouldn't answer. I called 135 legislators, and I was lucky to get 35 to call me back. That's a serious problem in this state. And most of them think that it's not their problem. But when you're looking at $1 billion, it's everybody's problem. That's taxed money. And I think we forget that. I think we leave that behind, that these are tax dollars. We need to be conservative with how we spend them. And, somebody broke their back working for that dollar. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so then shortly after, so we beat the appropriation. We were still fighting the prison. Last September, our senator actually passed away. His name was Gary Stubblefield. He, really good man, true conservative Republican. Well, when Gary passed, she denied us representation for this. It was going to be this last session. And I got an attorney and I sued.
What do you mean she denied your representation by not appointing someone?
She wouldn't appoint nobody, and there was no special election. Now, they claim that
constitutionally, I don't think that's possible.
It's not. It's not at all. So Asa did it actually in 21 with a guy named Lance Eves up in northwest Arkansas. He had went to be a lobbyist, I believe is what he did. He quit, went to be a lobbyist and consultant. and she had a special election up in Northwest Arkansas, or he did, had a special election, and they had representation by the next cycle.
Session.
Almost the exact same time frame
That
as
you're
ours.
looking at now?
As ours was. So we knew it was doably burdensome. I think it says unless it's undoably burdensome is the way it's written out in the Constitution. So I took her to court, and we won in circuit court in Pulaski County, and then they pushed it. Tim Griffin, him and Sarah Sanders, and Cole Jester, they want to push it to Supreme Court. So they're denying 86,000 people representation. What part of that is good in any way? Well, so we go to Supreme Court, and crazy enough, maybe it was just because it's election year, they pushed it back down to circuit court. I'm still in litigation right now. We'll see if I think it should be over this month. But regardless, we have representation. So they pushed it back to circuit court. Circuit court said, hey, do this date here. So March 3rd, Brad Simon won the election, and now he's represented us down there. He's done a pretty good job so far. I can't say he's done bad yet. You got to keep your eye on him, keep him honest, because he's only got a 3-year term, not a 4. And he spent quite a bit of money getting there. But I'm sorry, go ahead.
So, Colt, you've expounded a lot on some of the problems we're looking at, and so I think I know what the impetus was.
Yeah.
For you to say, I guess I need to run for governor.
Well, actually,
when did it happen?
Well,
when did that happen?
That happened when a bunch of the Republican and Democrats come to me and they're like, "Hey, we need somebody to run. We need somebody to run against her." So it was her house that invited me in. I didn't go knocking on the door. So I'm like, well, I know a lot of good people. I'm a 2 years into politics. I'm truly not a politician. I'm an oil field worker, blue collar, just like the rest of us. But what I do know is right from wrong. There's no gray area, and we got way too much gray right now. So when they recruited me in, I left the Republican Party in last September, whenever they wouldn't help me in that lawsuit, and I joined the Libertarian Party. And then I got into debate. I told one of the senators, he's like, "You're gonna do this." I was like, "Okay, well, if they nominate me, I'll do it." Because the way the Libertarians work is, they gather all the signatures, and then they get to pick who they want to run for what position. So they picked me.
Here you are.
Here I am.
Good.
And I'm traveling the whole state, and I'm trying to fight for what's right and get my name out there. And I appreciate you guys having me.
A former coworker of ours was state president of the Libertarian Party.
Really?
Yeah. And I told him, I said, Rodney, you have to be the only real libertarian I've ever met.
Well, that's the thing you run into.
And because here's what I found most of my life. People who tell you they're libertarian are conservatives who want legalized weed.
Pretty much.
Most of the time.
Don't tread on me. It goes
me.
way worse. So they want to go zero. A lot of the libertarians want to go 0 to full libertarian overnight. And so but when you can break it down to them, like, look.
Let me ask you, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Is it okay to go to take our state government from where it is to 100% Democrat control?
No.
Is it okay to take our government from where it is to 100% Republican control?
I mean, it'd be better than what it is now, but no, you can't do it.
And so neither is it a good idea to take it to full blown full to the metal,
full blown libertarian.
Yeah, libertarian. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about libertarianism and what does being a libertarian mean to you?
So it means, and I'm going to stick with the main one I like, and it's giving yourself more liberties, less government control, and what I really like is the platform is the non-aggression principle. But the problem with the non-aggression principle is it's based off from your morals, and because you have to have good morals to have that platform.
That's like let your conscience be your guide.
It is.
If you don't have a conscience,
that's the problem.
There lies the rub.
If you're a sociopath, I mean,
right. Are the morals in 2026 the same as the morals in 1960? Absolutely not.
Let me ask you this: do you believe fluoride is poisoning people's minds?
I do not, but I'm not a doctor.
Yeah,
I talk to dentists, so fluoride has to do with dentists, right? Yeah. How many people actually drink out of the faucet anymore?
I do.
I do too. I still drink out of a hose.
It's H2S water. I do too.
Yeah.
I just thought the majority was bottled water. But anyway, if you talk to a dentist, which I consider the professional, they're for the fluoride in the water.
Yeah.
But I lean like this: if the people don't want it, let them decide. And that's one thing that I want to push at every district. I mean, we're all different. Some people want paper ballots. Let them have paper ballots. What's wrong with that? The state won't allow it, even though they voted it in. That's an issue to me. That's too much government control.
You know, one of the concerns on any third party, and I'm sorry to refer to the Libertarian as a third party, but it is. How do you govern? Let's just say, and I may offend you by this. I hope I don't,
No, absolutely
and I
not.
apologize.
I've been governing my whole life.
If I
it's just been a different industry.
But let's just say you pull off a miracle, okay?
It ain't a miracle. What's going to happen?
That's what I said. I was going to offend him. Yeah. You Matt Jones to DeCorey Birmingham end zone beats LSU last second. Okay, that happened.
You didn't have to bring that up.
Yeah. And okay, here's one better. You Jeremy Owens in Texarkana, and you run back a pick six.
Yeah.
To win a game. Yeah,
I like
how
that.
About that? Okay.
Yeah.
And you're elected as the next governor of Arkansas. How do you govern as Libertarian? There's none of you in the legislature.
No, and there's not gonna be. It's gonna be so. One thing that I could do that no Republican, no Democrat, or very few can do is I can work with both sides, and I would give them the opportunity to actually be the General Assembly and make those decisions for their districts. It's not going to be, hey, this is
based
what
on
you're going to
content.
do. Yeah, this ain't what you're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to walk in that door. We're going to have the same goal. We're going to aim at helping our education. We're going to aim at reducing our crime rate. We're going to aim at reducing recidivism. And we're going to build economies where they want to build economies. And I'm going to do that with my team of 7 that I have in mind. It's an application process, but in my vision, if I was governor, I don't need 7 attorneys. I have an attorney general. Mm-hmm. And that is his job, is to protect us from doing unconstitutional things. And he's not done a very good job of that these last few years. I think he's setting the governor up for failure on purpose because he wanted to be the governor.
Well, I mean, to me, one of the biggest criticisms was she carpetbagged. You know, she hasn't been in Arkansas for a while.
No.
And then she flies in. It wasn't your turn. And I'm sorry, I know that sounds like a good old boy system.
No,
wasn't your turn yet.
But it wasn't your turn.
But we thought it was. But we all thought it was because
we didn't all think it was. What happened was she ended up being the only one on the ballot.
Well, she scared everybody off.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So we know, you know, if I'm Tim Griffin and I'm Leslie Rutledge, I'm pissed as hell because it was their turn.
Leslie's quiet, right? Leslie's super quiet. Everybody loves Leslie. Mm-hmm. Tim Griffin, he's just letting her bury herself, and he's helping bury her with all these things. I mean, if that's the best attorneys that he's got that he sends to court with us, then guys, look, you wouldn't want them representing you in a state ticket.
I'm not going to say Tim's doing anything intentionally. I don't think that.
Then he's a horrible attorney general. We need a new one.
You know, and that's a matter of opinion. But I think,
unless it's a massage parlor, then he's pretty good at busting them.
You against busting massage parlors?
No, I'm saying that's what he's good at. I would rather him protect the Constitution and save the tax dollars. So whenever Sarah signs things that are not constitutional, instead of Arkansas taxpayers paying millions and millions of dollars to beat this in court or to get beat in court, to just protect about, hey, I wouldn't sign that. Yeah. I mean, it's that simple of an ink pen. Don't sign that. That's
well, the problem again, though, to me is she can't help but sign it. It was hers to begin with. The legislature didn't come up with that.
No, they didn't. You're right.
And it's the nationalization of politics is what's killed it. You know, so I told this story recently. There's a guy. He's a Tea Party guy, and I'm not a Tea Partier. I am very conservative. Matter of fact, I tell people I'm so conservative, I'm liberal on some stuff, you know. But
flipped over.
Yeah, I can go all the way around that circle, you know.
You can if you want to do things to help.
If you want to do things that are right, and you want to do things to help people,
right? And believe it or not, I spoke to a Tea Party a couple of days ago, and I told them this, and you know they're all for it. Mm-hmm. You know, they know that people need help.
This Tea Partier calls me and he says, "Man, I'm just letting you know." He said, "I've got somebody. I'm talking to somebody right now. He's going to run against Matthew Shepard." I was like, "For what?
What for?"
The sitting Speaker of the House? You're going to run someone against the sitting Speaker of the House? Man, you just don't know how big his negatives are in his district." And I was like, "Well, I pay for 8 phones in this district, and not one of those phones has ever gotten a call asking my opinion." well, the Senate doesn't like him. I said, oh, gee, the Senate doesn't like someone in the House? I like it that way.
Yeah.
I think there should be just a little animosity between the two.
Yeah.
And I think there should be a little bit between the governor and the legislature.
There should.
It was when her dad was governor, Mike, I kind of got called out because I said something to him. I told him he still had too much Baptist preacher in him. He had to get some thicker skin. and he kind of riled up at me. I was like, see?
Yeah.
But now Mike I love, and Mike is my friend, and he always will be, and there's nothing he can do or you can do that's going to change that.
No, I don't want to.
I love that man. But he had heard the story when I worked for George W. Bush, that George W. Bush walked into the Texas legislature one day, and he has this bill. It's simple. It really was just, I think it was to show the national press that I can do things bipartisan. I think that's what he was doing. But he walks in, and there's this gay legislator from Houston, from the Montrose District of Houston, who, according to him, George Bush can't even breathe properly. And he walks in there, and he takes that legislation, he drops it down his desk, and says, hey, buddy, bill right there, it's good for Texas. If you help me get that passed, I promise you won't have any trouble come primary season. In other words, don't get it passed. And I got 3 gay guys waiting to run against you.
Just waiting to run.
So this guy who hates George W. Bush, has a 0% voting with George W. Bush rating, introduces George W. Bush's bill. And the governor, Mike Huckabee, says, yeah, we don't have that here in Arkansas. Well, of course not. First of all, they spent 2.5 years, I think, calling him the illegitimate governor.
Right.
And that doesn't set up well for a relationship. If we start off with the first 2.5 years of you have no business being here.
Right.
But I told him then, I was like, Governor, I'm not saying that was a good thing. I don't think the governor should have that kind of pull with the legislature.
No.
I like, way off subject, why are we still talking about damn continuing resolutions for funding and on the federal level? What the hell happened to the president comes up with a budget, submits it to Congress either votes it in or don't, and such is life.
And then it's done.
And that has not happened since the 90s.
Mm-hmm. I know.
When is the last time you've ever heard about a budget being submitted to the Congress?
Oh, it's horrible. Everything.
You were in short pants.
It was all. I know. I know. It was
last time it happened. That's ignorance. And
I was fishing in my underwear.
That's normal. That could have been yesterday.
So I think there needs to be that. Again, we are constitutionally set up so that these are powers that check each other.
Yeah.
So, and most all of our governors have always governed that way, right? In the past, it's like, this is what the governor wants, so this is just what you do, right or wrong. And I don't want to be that governor. I challenge all 135 legislators to work to vote for me, so I can give them that opportunity. I want a team of 7, and I don't need 7 attorneys. I want Tim Griffin to do his job, but I do want, if I get crewed up, I want 2 really good constitutional attorneys. I want 2 really good public educators. I want a good Department of Corrections guy. I want a good law enforcement officer, and I want a good economist. And I think I can take that team of 7 and help lead bills, not push, but help the legislators, because that's what their job is supposed to be as a staff, is to help pass these bills that the governor wants, and that to help those systems that are failing, take away laws that are restricting our teachers, do things for the good.
You brought up something, good point there. What are some agencies that you would, if you, as governor, you would either reduce or maybe even totally do away with?
Well, yet again, the Constitution, the Arkansas Constitution, things we've got to do. But I would want to remodel the Board of Educations, because we all know it needs done. Everybody, if this system has failed time and time and time again, and the EFA program, the voucher program is not it. You can take parts of LEARNS and still use it. I guess that was some of that good Sarah did. The starting pay, the average median income of Arkansas is $47,000. Teachers are starting out at $50,000. That's great. But the problem is the teachers that's been there for years and years and years didn't get an incentive. They was making $50,000, $52,000.
Yeah, well, there's a Bible story about that. So.
Yeah. And so, we need to get public educators in there, and that's why we need those professionals to be making these decisions. The Game and Fish Commission, be number one. Now, well, education, but it's just going to be a whole revamp altogether. But the Game and Fish Commission, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but in the Delta, the duck hunting, we lost a lot of license because now, all of a sudden, all these private clubs are getting all the water. Now, in case you didn't know, it becomes political.
No kidding.
And
I'm a big duck hunter.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay, so and I brought this up online. There's a good duck hunting group that puts on a podcast from Arkansas, and I told him, I was like, well, look up Chris Caldwell. If you don't know who he is, look him up because he's the Game and Fish Commissioner.
Yeah.
He was Sarah Sanders' campaign manager.
It's all about the rich people.
He always loves a duck hunt. Asa Hutchinson likes a duck hunt. Jamie Barker likes a duck hunt. These boys slayed some ducks last year, but but Arkansas lost revenue because we're not the duck hunting capital we were. Because
and you know, a lot of it's not legislation, not it's just patterns, but in things that have happened north of us.
It's not a pattern.
Yeah, well, habitat flats and places where they stop, and ducks are not going to go further south than it's cold.
Yeah,
they're just going to stay there. So
we didn't have a winter.
Yeah,
we didn't have a winter.
And I've been duck hunting now in this state for 25 years, and I hunt with guys that are my age or a little bit younger that have been hunting since the 80s.
Do you get naked out there too?
No, I don't get naked out there, but I do.
But he did fall in the water.
But I do fall in quite often. Yeah, you can't.
I'm telling you, this is on purpose.
Yeah,
it's on purpose.
Yeah, no. So, there's a lot of things that have changed. And it's all has to do with, the old statement: "Don't mess with Mother Nature."
Yeah.
And when the federal government gets in it, it's messed up. When the state government gets in it, it's messed up.
Yeah.
When they decide when we're going to close the gates and when we're going to let the water in and when we're, you've got to like you're saying, let the people that are in that industry figure it out.
And in that area.
With some...
That's what they get paid to do. But if you're going to do it just for your friends, which is what's happening, then it's political. And it should not be like that. It should be for the state of Arkansas. Not everybody can afford it.
Sounds to me like you just need to get better friends. Yeah. Then you could be part of that crew.
Well, I do have those friends. But the thing is, I care more about 3 million people than I do the 150,000 friends.
Well, and what Ducks Unlimited did, a lot of people have been proponents of Ducks Unlimited forever.
Right.
But, I've been a member of Ducks Unlimited up until a few years ago since I was a kid. But I don't ever get to go hunting at some place habitat that they fixed. Some guy from a show or a senator or those guys get to go hunting there and all the ducks are there. But Ducks Unlimited is just about...
So you're telling me I get a perk with the job?
Yeah, you'll get to go. If you're the governor, you'll get to go hunt.
You get to go hunt.
You'll go to Habitat Flats, which isn't Ducks Unlimited.
See, unfortunately, I'm not a duck hunter.
Well, good.
Hey, you and me both. You know what I told him? He's like, man,
I can't afford it.
I told him, I said, I don't make enough. He said, you're my boss. You make more than me. And I was like, and I still don't make enough to go duck hunting.
Boomer's got it going on. He's got some kind of table money
sugar
going
mama
on there.
He is well kept.
They say you can make more money. You can marry more money in one night than you can make in a lifetime.
Yeah. Well, my wife and I decided a long time ago that she was going to, get a job and make the money. And we decided that if it ever got any worse, that I'd go ahead and look for a job too. But so far I've been able to hunt, go play golf, and take my clothes off.
Run off with Sandy down in Texas and Louisiana. And
hey, I want to tell you, we'll get off politics just for a minute because I don't know a lot about politics. You travel all over the state.
Yep.
Does crazy happen right in front of you?
Everywhere I go.
Thankfully.
Now, Sandy can drive by himself. You've been to Magnolia today. Mm-hmm. Did any crazy happen to you today?
Just the one text I sent you.
Just one text. If I'm by myself, crazy doesn't happen to me a whole bunch.
Oh, it does.
Let us get in a vehicle together.
Brother, it's like an ongoing circus.
Right across the street over there.
No, it always happens to me.
We're walking out of a restaurant. This is years ago. Sandy's on the phone. It's at lunchtime. This cat comes out and he's got a transistor radio and he's got the antenna pulled out and he points it at Sandy like this, like it's a gun. And Sandy goes, does like that. He goes, no, he just hits the thing. He goes, go play crazy somewhere else.
I don't play with crazy people. And you know why? I told him, I said, because prison is full of people said, well, he couldn't see the demons on him. I could see them, and I was just trying to get them off of him. I stabbed him, but that was because I was stabbed through the demons, you know.
So the guy that was standing there, he said, Yana, he ran around the corner, and I was just cleaning my fingernails, and he ran right into my knife. He goes, yeah, son, but 47 times?
Yeah.
He did run
Crazy stuff does happen.
It does.
To Boomer and I when we're together, or to Boomer and me. We, I don't know why, but I tell people, I said, it happens to everyone. It's just we pay attention to it.
We're always looking for, stuff like that.
We went to a barbecue place in Pine Bluff one time. Hey, let me just tell you this.
Start over. Say it real slow. A barbecue place.
A barbecue place in Pine Bluff.
Yeah.
Okay.
The window you ordered from was up here.
It's like it used to be a window unit in it or something. And,
Had to be good.
Oh, the food was fabulous.
The food was fabulous.
It's late on a Friday night. We've been out of town doing a ball game. We come back and we're going to stop and get something to eat. We stop in this place because it's open. And we walk in, we see that window up there, and so they have to lean out the window, look down at you to order, and say, yeah, I want the number 3 plate and beans and coleslaw. And we make our order, we're waiting. Old boy pulls up in a Trans Am.
You seen the movie?
I swear.
I seen the look that you're giving me.
Bubba across the front license plate of his Trans Am.
And I know if he blew the horn, he was going to play Dixie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he comes in. Now, mind you, we are at a barbecue place where?
In Pine Bluff.
In Pine Bluff. So there wasn't a lot of people there that looked like the 3 of us. Well, this guy looked like us.
No. He looked like Bubba.
Yeah. Well, there were some similarities, okay, to him and us. Skin tone. And he goes to throwing racial slurs out there.
Get my GDR, you suckers.
And the N word with the hard R at the end. And one of the guys that was with us stood up and said, hey, sir,
He's not with us. We haven't done our food yet. Don't spit in our food.
Yeah.
And that guy walks back outside while he's waiting on his food. And they're like, oh, that's just Bubba. That's just Bubba? We are in Pine Bluff. It's 11:30 on a Friday night.
Calm down, Bubba.
Yeah. You don't get us all killed, Bubba. But that's the kind of stuff
that's just one example.
That's one of many examples. Yeah. Hell, we made a whole podcast off of the stuff that happens to me and him. So.
Well, we did football games for several years all over South Arkansas, and in the playoffs we go everywhere.
We go everywhere, yeah.
And most of those things happened.
It does. It's the randomest things. I get you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and if we could find a golf course between here and there, we could try to squeeze that in too.
Or if not, we'd just stop at a rest stop
and hit golf balls in the woods. We've done that.
We'd stop it. Well, because Sandy smoked, and we had I smoked too.
We both smoked at that time.
So he had a company car. There's no smoking allowed.
Yeah.
So we'd have to stop about every 7 to 10 minutes, smoke another cigarette. So we just hit a couple golf balls across the highway.
Why are you smoking a cigarette?
Yeah.
We were driving one time. He said, "Hey, you ain't had to pee or anything?" I was like, "No." Well, it's been about 2 hours since we stopped, and I could use a cigarette. And I was like, "You know what? I could too." Yeah. But I'm glad I don't smoke anymore.
Me too. Man. I said when I quit in my 50s, and I said, when I get to be 72, I'm gonna start smoking again, because I figure you just live most everything you've done.
Yeah,
Marlboro Reds. Yeah, filter off.
No Camel. You're healed. Your lungs are healed. You're ready to go back.
Yeah. No, man. Now, when someone lights up a Marlboro Light, that first smell. If you're a smoker,
I always told them, especially if they're using one of those old school Zippos that you
get the lighter fluid smell too.
Oh man!
But here's what the deal is: you forget that you had that rattle cough all the time, and that your breath smelled like a pigsty all the time,
and your clothes never smelled clean.
Everybody can smell as soon as you walk in the room.
Your hair and
yeah.
Well, but back in the '80s, every girl I dated,
that's what they smelled like.
Hairnet and Marlboros.
Yeah,
not hairnet. Aquanet.
Yeah,
Aquanet. Yeah. His Boomer's entire generation is responsible for if there's a hole in the ozone, it was them.
Us.
It was them and all those aerosol cans. Now I say that I was a child of the '80s, and I mean you've seen those hairdos.
Yeah, they had the big like this.
Bro.
Yeah.
No, the girls. No. Oh, the girls had all these things.
The girls
like
they'd stand that hair up, and it was
Anyway,
but hey, that was the thing back then.
That was it. Yeah,
that was it. See, his dad's over here. That's one thing I like about having his dad right there.
He keep me in check.
Yeah, because if he gets too far off, I can just give him a glance.
Yeah,
he done did this 2 or 3 times.
Nah, he didn't. That never happened. That's a fact check back here.
I tell you, I lost my dad in 2021, and was my best friend. My dad was a single dad most all my life, and he was a professional baseball player. And then when he got custody of me,
my mom wished he was.
Wishes he was a single dad. He became a professional bowler, and I traveled all over America with him bowling. And he was very, very young when I was born. He was 18, and he got custody of me when he was 23.
Dang.
So he was 23 with a 5-year-old, and this is the 70s, man. It was a decade of decadence, you know? And so I definitely grew up faster than I should have, and I witnessed and seen things that I should have never witnessed or seen at that age. But I tell people all the time, man, I wish my dad was sitting here, because I hold back on some of the stuff because Daddy tell Boomer stories, and Boomer's like, "You never told me that story." I said, "Yeah, because I'm ashamed of that." Yeah.
I told y'all I needed a bodyguard. Somebody could come up behind me right now. Oh, Dad's watching.
Yeah, he's got your back, man. That's important. That's important. He's got your back. You could. And he's there watching our pizza, because let me tell you what happened. We told you that crazy happens around us. We were doing a podcast sitting at that table over there one time, and they
looking this way. We're looking just like the kid.
Just like we're looking now. We're looking that way.
Yeah.
And they bring our pizza out, and they set it on that table. We took a break. We got up. We both had one slice each. We come back over. We start recording the podcast again, and there's a guy that had come in here. First, he tried to come get on the podcast with us, because we were talking about classic country music.
Was he drinking?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he had bought him a pitcher of beer already, and he sat over there. But we're talking about classic country music. He said, "Hey, let me tell you." And I was like, No. We don't need you to tell us anything. So he goes back over there and sips on his pitcher a little more. Well, then he gets up and he grabs our pizza and leaves.
That teaches me rude to him.
Didn't pay for his pitcher of beer.
Over about 3 pieces and picks it up. Because I'm sitting here turned sideways looking at Sandy, and I'm looking at him. Sandy's got his, just his head pointed that way. And I said, man, when we took another break, I said, you're not going to believe what happened. So he said, well, I'll have to watch that. So it was in the podcast.
Yeah, I put it in the podcast. I freeze framed it, and I put an arrow, and I was like, "Guy stealing our pizza." I told you, crazy happens around us all the time. Hey, let's take a break. We'll come back, and got some more stuff we'll ask you.
Okay.
And hopefully, when we're done here, you'll still think that we're nice guys.
I hope not. I like this Sarah Sanders match I got. It's my first debate.
No, man. Listen, I'm not the one to debate for her on her behalf. I'm not convinced that she's done a good job. Well, I was just saying that not everything she's done is wrong.
And I'm still looking for that good. I just ain't found it yet.
Well, we found one of them. Okay, teacher pay.
Yeah, okay. We'll give her that.
We'll give her that.
Partially.
One, okay.
Give her a part of one.
Part of it.
Okay, so we're going to be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
The brand new deli is open at Davis Farms Country Market, featuring Boar's Head cheese and meats. Try the Turkey Bacon Ranch, the London Broil Roast Beef, the Club Sandwich, or a fresh and crispy BLT. Check out their Cranberry Pecan Chicken Salad, not to mention fresh hot gumbo, the soup of the day, and more. Davis Farms Country Market, 4523 Junction City Highway, or call 870-639-1323.
Bad things happen, and of course, they never happen at the right time. Maybe it's just a little bump and cosmetic damage, or it's turned into a huge insurance claim, and you just don't know where to go next. That's why so many of your neighbors and friends call on Cook's Body Shop in El Dorado. From the minor to the major, Cook's Body Shop is in your corner. Need someone to help you deal with insurance? Look to Cook's. Need advice on what to do next? Look to Cook's. Need a free estimate? Look to Cook's. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's.
32 years ago, a young Robert Rushing began his life of public service joining the El Dorado Fire Department. While saving lives during the day, Robert Rushing put himself through college and law school at night, eventually opening a law practice in 2010 to protect and serve the rights of people in South Arkansas. By the way, he was still working as a fireman at the time. And after 23 years of service, Robert Rushing answered the call again and was elected as city attorney. Today, Robert Rushing still has that desire to serve. Re-elect Robert Rushing as El Dorado city attorney.
Rated the #1 course in Arkansas by Golf Week, Mystic Creek is truly a hidden gem, complemented by a modern clubhouse, complete with panoramic views. It also features a fully stocked pro shop and Mystic Grill, serving contemporary American cuisine and Southern classics. Mystic Creek promises an unforgettable experience.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30-plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch. And Boomer, our friends at Smackover Motors, you know, I was talking to them the other day, they are celebrating 50 years.
Yeah, the Langley's over there, they've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, 50 years of providing phenomenal service, first of all. Helping people get financed, getting people in vehicles that thought they had no chance of getting in a vehicle. Fleets, you know, with these oil companies running up and down our roads and all. And they're when no one else in the country was able to get trucks,
they got them.
They were getting them.
That's right.
And so that's our friends at Smackover Motors. Please stop by and see them. And again, Big James on the bypass at Smackover Motors. And go out and see our friends at Smackover Motors. And also stop by and visit with my friend Rexanne. As a matter of fact, I was in there yesterday. I ordered some flowers yesterday because today begins Nurses Week.
And Sunday's Mother's Day.
Yeah, but I didn't order flowers for that.
Okay.
Whoa.
No, I've never done flowers for Mother's Day. But I got her a nice present.
But I mean, you know, something for Mother's Day is what I'm getting.
Yeah, I'll get her something for Mother's Day.
Flowers are good.
No, they die. I got her something that's going to last a lot longer than that. Got a brand new vacuum. No, I did not.
Bought her a can opener. Bought that woman a can opener. Brand new washing machine. That's what I got.
No, I did not buy her that. But I'm not going to say it because she'll see it, and I don't want her to see it.
You already told on yourself, didn't you?
Yeah, no. But I was in there visiting with Rexanne, and again, this is Nurses Week, and it starts. And so every year I send her flowers for Nurses Week, and I always make the card to my favorite nurse. And then I say something about playing doctor later. But anyway,
just you and me playing doctor later.
Man, we got 6 kids. There's never just you and me time.
Really, y'all have to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Go to the wash interior or something. Kids, the washer dryer's not working. Y'all just stay. We're gonna go
when they were smaller, we could go in there and tell them we were going to move furniture around, and we're going to clean our room. Y'all want to help? No.
Okay.
They'd say the whole end of the house. That's how I ended up with 6 kids. But I went by and visited with Rexanne, and I say this with all humility, and that is, I am so thankful I've never had to go anywhere else. I'm sure there are other great florists, but I have only always used All About Flowers because I've never had the need to go anywhere else. And when I'm sending something out of town, I love more than anything when someone calls me and says, man, that arrangement that you sent to my mom's funeral or my dad's funeral, there's no telling what that cost you, but thank you. It was so beautiful. And they send me pictures of it, and I'm blown away. Now, again, Rexanne didn't make that and take it to Davenport, Iowa. Okay, I get it. But she has those connections with the absolute best florists in every little town. And because of that connection, then you get superior service. So that's why I go to All About Flowers.
Also, Hallmark cards.
Yes.
They have Hallmark cards there.
Yeah, because otherwise you can't find Hallmark cards.
That's right.
So go visit with my friend Rexanne at All About Flowers, and hey, tell her you saw it here. Now she's running some ads on our website, and you can find it there. There's a code, and if I was smart, I would have remembered that code and say, hey, be sure to use this code at checkout.
Yeah.
But I'm not smart, and we know this. But
so for all your floral needs,
yeah, don't do that. I had a couple of hard and fast rules at my radio stations. One, we never use the word zero unless you're talking about 0% financing. So if your station was 102 on the dial, they never said, "Hey, welcome to 102 Jock 102."
Right.
No, it's 102.
Yeah.
So we don't use the word zero, and we do not, under any circumstances, fill a commercial with cliches. I can give you a 30-second commercial right now and never tell you a thing. Hey, we're right on the corner and right on the price.
Right.
Family owned and operated for more than 35 years. Now, here's our phone number and our hours of operation. And by that time you're done, you've got 30 seconds and you've not said anything
about the business
that's made me, as a consumer, say, I want to go there. Mm-hmm. You know, in the world of advertising, there are 7 laws. And law number 3 is engage the imagination and take it where you will. For where the mind goes, the body can't help but follow. And that's what we always tried to do with, Boomer and I would do characters in our commercials. There was the mob guys who were taking their grandmother's Buick LeSabre down to the car wash, and the pigeons are on. Yeah, I'm just saying, forget about it. But it's been 20 years since we've had a commercial like that, and there are still people that walk up to me. They say, "Man, that time y'all said blah 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 blah." And they recite it word for word because we engaged their mind, we engaged their imagination. When you say blueberry cobbler, every one of us picture it differently. Some picture with some ice cream on the side, some picture on a paper plate, some picture it in a bowl. But engage their mind. And so, yeah, we had some rules. And I told my production manager, we actually were fortunate enough, we hired a full-time production manager. And I said, if you see a commercial script come into your office and it has the words for all your needs, I want you to promptly take it back to that person who wrote it and reject it. So one day, I'm driving down the road and I'm listening to one of my stations. I had 6 stations, so it was like I couldn't listen to all at the same time. I'm listening to Rush Limbaugh show, and I hear this commercial for this pharmacy, and it is 30 seconds of the worst radio I've ever heard in my life.
It was yours?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it was horrible. The commercial was terrible. I get back to the office. I said, hey, whose client is this pharmacy? And they said, well, it's Rodney Wimberly's. I said, thanks. I pick up the phone. I call him. I said, hey, Rodney, I just checked your customer such and such pharmacy. They paid. I need you to come get a check and take it back to them. He's like, okay. I said, there's no way I'm going to accept payment from them for we're running out there calling it a good radio commercial. That is a terrible commercial. And he said, man, I've been waiting on this phone call. I'll be right there. So he comes back to my office and he's like, 100% agree. That's a terrible radio commercial. But their son-in-law works for Clear Channel in Fayetteville, at the radio stations in Fayetteville, and he wrote it. And they think it's the greatest commercial ever.
Of course.
And he said, you know what? They also tell me, we had so many people comment on our commercial. No, they didn't. No one remembered that commercial, but they think they did. Because every time they heard it, they just knew 800 of their friends were listening at the same moment and heard the same thing, So, yeah. I worked at one radio station though, where the owner he was vehemently opposed to a customer doing their own commercial, and I explained to him. I said, "Look, you don't understand. If I do the commercial, people have heard my voice 100 times, right? Today they've heard it." He does that commercial. He's never once going to tell you, well, I just didn't hear my commercial, or nobody ever said anything about my commercial. He's never going to say that. Mm-hmm. Because the first time he says, I remember very specifically, the guy's name was Richard Haley at Haley Furniture. He said, this is Richard Haley at Haley Furniture, and here with my beautiful wife, Kathy. And that's how he would start his commercials. And he was on the very edge of my signal. As a matter of fact, his service area was a whole lot more than what I covered. But every time I went and saw him, he would re-up, because all it took was one person to say, hey man, I heard you on the radio, and that was 10,000 people as far as he was concerned. that owner, he was, and I was like, look, if you're telling me that's going to be the rule, then you're going to have to find another sales manager, because I can't be here, So they found another sales manager.
We're paying you anyway.
Yeah.
Not every time.
Yeah. It's not like your check's clearing. So, you've touched on it a couple of times, Cole, and again, for those who may be coming in late, we're visiting with Colt Shelby, who is the Libertarian candidate for governor of Arkansas. And
sounds good when he says that.
Yeah. What Libertarians, obviously, nationally, especially, as limited government almost as possible.
Right.
Just basically a step this side of anarchy. It is,
but more local control.
But more local control. Most libertarians believe the only time that the military should ever be involved in anything would be on U.S. soil, if there's a threat on U.S. soil,
where Republicans are strength and power.
And when did the Democrats become war hawks? Because all through the Biden administration, they were, and now all of a sudden they love peace again.
Yeah.
But when you talk about limited government, there are some things that I'm glad the federal government dictates to the state. You need to do this.
It is, and I kind of lean more towards the middle of the road. Like you talked about earlier, you got the extreme left, extreme right. Well, the Libertarians have the extreme left, extreme right. Both. They have both. It varies from each individual one. So I try to put it in realistic terms, which is different than what the Libertarians have seen. And I've had this conversation with the chair of the Libertarian Party, because I understand that we have different beliefs. And he understands that too. The chair of the Libertarian Party, Michael Paco, is fantastic. He's an economist, a big economist. But
Milton Friedman.
I mean, he is really. He is. He's truly a great man. And so I'll call him, and because I was new to the party, I'm like, hey, this is how I view this, and I want to see what you think. And he's like, Colt, this is yours. He's like, run it off Arkansas values, stay within the platform, but I support you 100%. And so I'm getting to run the Libertarian platform and kind of discuss it with more people in a broader areas now, and how we can apply that to 2026. And that's what you got to do. You can't, this isn't 1814 Libertarian, this is 2026 Libertarian.
So what role do you believe, if you're elected governor, that your office should have with Medicaid, Medicare?
So, you got the Democrats that want to give it to everybody, and you got the Republicans that want to rip it off. And I want to be in between. So I think we need accountability, because the three things that I'm running on, and you can put it on Medicaid.
I just let you get away with that. I didn't check you on that at all.
What's that?
I don't think the Republicans just want to rip it off.
They are. Because what is the plan right now?
Again, there's not one.
There's not one.
But I don't think that they, even in their heart of hearts, I don't believe. That's like saying, Republicans want to starve old people and kick old grandmas out of nursing homes.
Well, we do have a lot of people going hungry at $5 a plate at the senior centers. It's true. There's a huge line in Sebastian County. But I get back on the subject here. So, with the big, beautiful bill that's going to cut our federal fundings. So we should have a plan now. We know this is coming. I'm a planner. And also, we're risking...
If you raise cattle, you better be.
Yeah. It's feast or famine, just like the oil field. I'm in two industries that base off whatever the government's doing. But we have to have Medicaid and Medicare. Mm-hmm. But the waste, fraud, and abuse is at an all-time high. And there's no accountability for it. Because we all know somebody that both are working and making good money and still drawing that Medicaid, Medicare. Maybe as a single, maybe they're not married, whatever it may be. And there's ways to find that out also, right? There's checks and balances to know if you're cheating Medicaid and Medicare. And what we need to do better about holding that accountability as a state, because there is none. I know that, and like I said before, I know people need it. You've got single moms out there raising kids that can't afford to do both. You can't afford to put your kid in daycare, and you can't afford to go to work. You can't have both because of the rising cost of living. And so what I want to run on is, and like I said earlier, driving prices down. Not giving everybody a raise, because that's going to bring everything back up. I want to drive prices down, and I know we'll talk about that later. But Prop 103 is a good example of what I want to do, and that's not appointed. Have an elected official that's job is to drive these prices down across the state.
So are you saying we don't have an insurance commissioner now?
Well, I mean, do we?
I mean, there is an insurance commissioner.
It's appointed.
Mm-hmm.
We need
an elected one. Okay.
I want an elected one because this is a very important job.
Well, and here's been my issue. Most of the time, the people who are put in charge of insurance commissions, which are supposed to keep a check on the insurance company, are insurance company people.
Makes good sense, right?
Yeah, and I know this for a fact because I had a lot of dealings with commercial insurance, and I had a client who he was having a really hard time with his insurance, and he went online, he saved 15% in 15 minutes or more. Okay, and then when he needed his insurance and he needed to file a claim,
they weren't there.
They weren't there.
Yeah,
or it wasn't covered.
Yeah, Medicaid, Medicare seem to do that too a lot these days.
And so he calls the insurance commission. I think the 11th time he finally got someone to call him back, and the guy tells him, he said, "Hey, I've got 537 cases open. I don't know when I'll get to you." And that was his response. And that's wrong.
Well, and it is because, because I had this conversation the other night, the ABC board, we got 350 boards and committees in the state of Arkansas. And, the governor can't control them all. You're supposed to appoint good people on each one. But that being such an important role for Arkansas, I think that should be an elected position because that is somebody that's going to work for the people. Their accountability level is for the people. And with them not answering, and I know they got plenty of support to go with that, then we need somebody in there that the state can count on that knows. I mean, look what Carlton Wing, I know it was an appointed position, and he really surprised me on how good he's done with PBS. Look at the money he brought in for PBS to keep that in the state. That is amazing. That is a man working for the people. And
sorry, I'm looking something up so I can speak intelligently. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. So that's why I think with the Medicaid and Medicare, there's a little bit of cronyism inside there. So the guy I talked about earlier, Chris Caldwell.
Yeah.
He's also a lobbyist for Blue Cross and Blue Shield. And it's so intertwined. How are we ever going to beat these prices down if we're using lobbyists and political profiteers to be in charge of some of the most important things to Arkansas?
Yeah.
I want good people. I like to sleep good at night. And that's something that I've done for the last 20 years is being an overseer of rigs and guys' safety and the cost. It was just one guy doing all these projects.
Yeah.
So the only way to do it is you delegate the work, right?
Yeah.
Same thing a governor should do. And then you expect them and you hold them accountable for the results that brings. And that's
exactly.
And that's the kind of leadership style that I've learned over the years, and that's what I can do, and that's what I can bring to this table. But so Libertarian, Medicaid, Medicare, yes, but I want to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse.
I think most people do,
and I think that's what they're couching it as.
Well,
waste, fraud, and abuse.
I think most people want to.
Who's responsible for it?
But there's the problem.
There's no accountability.
There's no accountability for it. One of the first issues I had with our governor, and again, I'm not her mouthpiece, and I'm not a hater.
You're neutral. Yeah.
I'm not a hater, and I'm not an apologist. One of the things I saw was Arkansas Parks and Tourism has an annual advertising budget. I think this year's $20 million. For advertising our parks and tourism. Now listen, there's thousands upon thousands and thousands of studies that show dollars spent in tourism advertising, how those dollars come back to the state, fivefold, eightfold. For years, we as a state chose Cranford Johnson Robinson Woods to represent the ad budget for Arkansas Parks and Tourism. Big ad agency in Little Rock, very smart. Great people. I've never had a problem getting a call back from them, ever. And but we yanked out at least a part of their budget, I think. And we sent it to an ad agency in Colorado.
So the other one was based out of Arkansas.
Yeah, Little Rock.
Little Rock, okay.
Yeah, it's right there.
And now we're using Colorado.
And so we...
Good idea.
But I think, that's why I wanted to look it up. I thought I had heard that but CJRW now has gotten that contract back, but it's on a three-year contract.
Well, you know who's over all that?
I do.
Do you know?
Well, it's not Richard Davies anymore.
Over tourism's Brian Sanders.
Brian Sanders, yeah.
The governor's husband.
Yeah.
That's why you're getting all
the
these...
first gentleman.
Yeah, that's why you're getting all these bike lifts and these bicycle trails. I mean, they're putting bicycle trails around WMAs.
Yeah.
Look.
What?
Again. Hey.
I'm going to get shot.
No.
I am pro bicycle trails. I am pro bicycle lifts. 100%. I am.
Me too. I just don't want the taxpayers to pay for it. Yeah,
I tell you, but here's my issue. So, for example, Arkansas Parks and Tourism, they have a $20 million advertising budget, but a $150,000 local festival budget. So if you're a local festival in Magnolia, for example, where they have the World Championship State Cook-Off, which draws thousands upon thousands of people come to Magnolia every year for that. It's the World Championship State Cook-Off. I mean,
big deal.
It's a big deal. And you're a town of under 10,000. Well, you can get you a little piece of this $150,000. Well, that's not much. Mm-hmm. Not when you look at how many counties are in Arkansas. We've got 75 counties in Arkansas, and every little county has a festival and a fair. And
oh yeah, and they're all great. I'm telling you, Arkansas knows how to do it right.
You know, but I went to the Mayhaw Festival last weekend. I have not went in several years because I have a family reunion that weekend every year, and it's just been important for me, especially after my dad passed, to go be known and seen at my family reunion. But this year I went to the Mayhaw Festival, and we were broadcasting live, or streaming live down there. Excuse me.
Thank you.
That Boomer, I'm telling you something. That Mayhaw Festival I went to this past weekend was the absolute best Mayhaw Festival I've ever been to.
Yes, what I heard.
It was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. 30, 40 different 80-something different vendors. Mm-hmm. Food trucks galore. Asian, Mexican, barbecue, corn dogs, funnel cakes, lemonade. We're walking down to get on this little train. My kids wanted to ride this train that was going around town. We're going down there to get on this train. And the very last little trailer there, there's this guy standing there, and he's like, that lady right there, she got the best lemonade this side of heaven. That's what he said. Best lemonade this side of heaven. I was like, okay. Well, we knew we were going to be a while waiting on that train. It was hot. So I walked over and said, we looked at her menu, and she had strawberry lemonade and regular lemonade. My two kids, they wanted regular. I got the strawberry. He wasn't lying. Boomer, it was the best lemonade I've ever drank. And I drank lemonade. I was on the barbecue circuit. We cooked.
They were probably standing on top of something with their bare feet, squashing them lemons.
Let me tell you something. That's
what they do at the Grape Fest in Altus.
They did great.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And I was like, so where y'all from? And they're from Bossier. Mm-hmm. And he's like, we hadn't been involved a whole lot in Arkansas, but we're trying to get out a little bit more. And we got talking, and he was like, man, obviously we go to lots of festivals. He said, we go to Texarkana. It's huge.
Yeah, that one there.
He said, but this one here, he said, man, y'all put on a good festival. I said, well, not me. I had nothing to do with it, but I was impressed.
That's what I heard. I heard it was good.
So imagine, I'm just saying, take what they're already doing. If we could infuse that festival with, I don't know, $10,000.
Well, we had one up north. Now, this isn't the best festival in the world, but it brought people from all over the U.S., and they used to call it Walkarooza. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's a big 70s and 80s fest. People out there just peace, love, and happiness type. And, I mean, it used to bring tens of thousands of people. And this is at Bird's Landing out in the middle of nowhere, north of Ozark. And you talk about every hippie.
Yeah, north of Ozark is middle of nowhere.
It is. And every hippie you can imagine all.
Well, they just all came up from Eureka Springs.
No, they would be wondering. I lived probably 20 minutes from Ozark, and you would see them 2 weeks later just walking down 96 highway, and it's just a 2-lane highway that leads to nowhere, and they just lost, just trying to get home.
Yeah, but. I just think, again, $20 million ad budget.
Yeah. Can we
add to the
communities? Can we put it in the?
Yeah, I mean,
let them spend it.
And of course, then you get.
Well, that makes too much sense.
Well.
Yeah, you can't be thinking logical. This is Arkansas state government.
I said that to a guy yesterday. He said, "I don't understand." I said, "Well, the first problem is you're trying to inject logic into this.
Yeah, don't put logic in it. Take out the
leave
logic.
common sense out of it. And
now, can you make it more expensive?
Yeah.
You're thinking too
and less
small.
effective.
Yes, we don't. We want less people, more money.
Yeah.
This is Arkansas state government we're talking here. Quit trying to be conservative.
I watched a show about the train in California. It was a Netflix show or something, and the mob was pretty much getting all the right-of-ways and everything and all the contracts for where the train was going to go. And when he was talking to all the bigwigs, he says, "And there will be plenty of overruns."
Yeah.
In other words, we got this much budget right now, but don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Quit looking at numbers.
Yeah.
Do you want to train, or do you want to talk about numbers?
Yeah.
Listen, I've dealt with people who may or may not make their living on the other side of the law, and that's the kind of stuff they'll do. They'll sit down and say, "You worried about the budget? You want to talk about budgets, or do you need to train?"
Yeah.
You tell me.
You tell me you need to train. Let me worry about the budget.
You said you wanted to train.
Yeah.
So you think I'm funny?
I'm funny. Funny how? Like a
funny
clown?
how? Those guys.
Yeah. So what we talked about Medicaid, Medicare, but what do you see your role should be in rural hospital closings? Right now, there are like I said, 75 counties, but there are only 34 hospitals in the entire state that will deliver a baby.
Yep. We just lost one in Fort Smith recently.
Yeah.
So this is where the county turnback dollars come in. And, I know we just had this big tax cut. So look at it this way. We still got lots of money. Arkansas still got lots somehow. Arkansas's got lots and lots of money.
Well, Northwest Arkansas, that's why.
Yeah, it is. And Central. But what you've got is, it's a bad picture in this grand scheme of things, but we just took a $180 million tax cut, right? The 0.2% is going to cost, it's about $80-90 million per tenth. So we just did 2/10. So we lost that money in revenue. But then we turn around, we spend $300 million on an unknown project that we don't know what it's going to bring, how many people it's going to bring, how much, we don't know what it's going to do.
It's approved.
It's approved.
Yeah.
It passed through the legislature, but we don't know what it's for still yet. Maybe by the time you get this rolled out, we'll know what it is, and it won't be a magic mystery no more. But so that tells me we still got lots of money to throw around. Plus, we got the voucher program, the FAs. That's $379 million. So Arkansas is doing well with that, but we're not spending it in the right places. So I look at it as this: county turnback dollars. If you go to any county, this is probably the 15th or 20th county I've been to in the last few months, and every county has needs, whether it's emergency facilities, whether it's helping out with their jails overcrowding, or it's their cops probably ain't getting paid enough, law enforcement. Hospitals are running down, water infrastructure, road infrastructure. No matter what county you go to, there's always something missing that they can't quite get the money for. So with some of that EFA money, there was actually a bill this last session that was going to put $2 million back in each county, and it had so much allocated for water, so much allocated for emergency facilities, and so forth. And I think that's a great plan, because we've got to get, it kind of comes as an overall picture, right? If we don't have good hospitals, and we don't have good water, we don't have good power sources, who's going to want to come here? Mm-hmm. Who's going to come to El Dorado with I know this is more of a city problem, but who wants to come to El Dorado when y'all's sewer system can't hold anything else, right? I know y'all got all those good things, but what business would want?
Right, but our infrastructure locally is over 100 years old.
I know. I found that out.
And so we've got, we've been kicking the can some on some of those things.
Right.
Now, one thing I will say about our local community, we just voted recently to tax ourselves.
You did? Half-cent?
Half-cent sales tax
for
our hospital.
Yep. That is a great thing. Baptist is actually moving from there to here.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about Baptist coming. That's for sure. I was on the hospital board of directors for a lot of years, and
it's such an important thing.
But it is 100%. You said
well,
it.
Murphy USA's here. Who you going to get to come?
You cannot
You
recruit.
can't hire a guy from with a degree from SMU and say I want you to come here to El Dorado, Arkansas, but we don't have a hospital.
Right.
Yeah, your new wife can't have the baby here.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
It's crazy.
How are you gonna snag a mid to late 20s up and coming future executive? If you tell them, move to El Dorado, I know we're kind of far off the beaten path when you could go to Houston or Dallas or Tulsa or wherever, but come to El Dorado. And by the way, we know notice your wife's pregnant. We'll get you called in over to Texarkana. You got a baby over there.
Wow.
Hey,
if you can't get an Uber, we'll take you ourselves.
So we are not invested in our counties, guys. Yeah. I'm a rural county guy, so I've lived that rural life.
But we have, though, geographically the largest county in the state.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're at Felsenthal, and let's just say you have a deputy down at Felsenthal, you have maybe two on duty, right? One's at Felsenthal and the other one's over here at Dodge City. They could take off driving, and it would be over an hour before they met each other.
So
we have a big county.
Would you? And I'm going to ask you this because you were on the medical. If you had $180 million and you had a choice to save every Arkansan $8 a month, or rebuild some hospitals.
No, 100%.
No, it's a no-brainer. And if every Arkansan knew that,
yes,
the average Arkansan, what are they going to say? Now this tax break doesn't help but your Tysons, your Waltons, and your JB Hunts. Now that 0.2 is a huge impact, right? That 2 points is a huge for them, billions of dollars. But for us, it's $8 a month. Would you be willing to pay $8 a month to update your hospitals?
Right. Yeah.
Or your sewage system.
Yes.
Or your sewer system.
Because I think that's what we're looking at in the very near future. Mm-hmm. We have.
And do you know who voted for that and got beat out this time? The Democrats. Mm-hmm. Everybody wants to talk bad about the Democrats, but they're looking at the big picture. And I know as a libertarian, I want less government, but we're so far behind. We have neglected our counties for so long that they're just crumbling. And when you don't have hospitals and you lose 8 out of every 1,000 babies born. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. We're the highest in infant mortality in the nation. Mm-hmm. And we're doing
that's
nothing.
Wrong.
Is that okay for everybody?
No.
We accept that. We've accepted that for many years. And so, of all the issues that
they always point to the Delta.
But hang on. Let me back up to something you just said. This has been a problem for many years. So Sarah Sanders didn't make that problem.
No.
Now she may not be addressing it.
She's not addressing it.
But she
and
didn't
neither
make
did
that.
The ones before her.
Exactly.
And neither did the ones before
it was Democrats
them.
and Republicans all alike. And because here's what it comes back to. This division that no one ever wants to talk about in the state is called I-30. And if you're north and west of I-30, you have a lot more say-so and a lot more favor than if you're south and east of I-30.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
And, I was, again, for years, I was an operative, if you want to use the term, in the Republican Party. But like I said, 20-something years ago, I quit calling myself a Republican. I was appointed by Asa Hutchinson to a board here in Arkansas, and there's an application process you fill out.
Right.
I did the application, sent it in, and then I went and met with the chief of staff, our director of communications, I think. I said, Sandy, the first thing I got to ask you is, you give a lot of money to Democrats. I said, no, I give a lot of money to Mike Ross. And I said, well, it was the governor's opponent. I said, I know. I said, because,
he was the better candidate.
I said, because in my mind, it was our last chance to have someone who's going to represent South Arkansas. Mm-hmm. He's a South Arkansas guy. I said, that's one. I said, but secondly, tell me 3 things that Governor Hutchinson and Mike Ross disagree about. Don't worry, I'll wait. You can't. Mike Ross was pro-Second Amendment, pro-life.
Yeah, from Arkansas alone, you're just pro-Second Amendment.
You have to be.
Most people from Arkansas, do you know anything gun laws?
Do I know any gun laws?
Yeah.
No,
we don't have any either.
Yeah.
So it's like,
but my point is I ended up turning down that nomination, that appointment. I ended up turning it down. But my thing is, yes, the majority of the money that the state operates on comes from Northwest Arkansas.
It does.
Well, if that's going to be the case, if that's what you want, split the state. Let us have our own, and we'll put the capital here in El Dorado, and we'll live hand to mouth.
Well, it doesn't have to be like that, because we've not had a rural governor either that understands rural America. I'm blue collar. I was raised poor, self-made man to where I'm at today, and we've never had that before. Maybe since Dale Bumpers.
Yeah.
And so what we need to listen to the people up front. We have smart people all over this state. We have some really good. I mean, y'all's county judge
Frank
been here.
White. That's the last one I can think of.
Yeah, what's that?
Was last governor who was kind of farm boy from Kingsland.
Oh yeah.
Beat Bill Clinton, and it surprised. As much as we think it surprised Bill Clinton he got beat, it surprised Frank White more that he won.
Well, your county judge has been here for 16 years,
yes.
right? In Union County. I just went over there, met with him, had a great conversation. You can tell he runs a really good operation.
He does.
One, the way everybody acts in the environment, the courthouse. You can tell he's a very well-respected man in the county.
He is.
And you got to appreciate that. And I think if we gave them guys more control, more money to do what they need to do, that it would get taken care of. Is every county going to do that? No. Is every school board going to be good?
No.
Did he talk about bridges all over the county? Did he ever bring that up?
No.
The number of bridges in Union
this
County
is unbelievable.
Unreal.
That's a lot of upkeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, when you're geographically the largest county in the state,
you're going to have more of everything.
You're going to have more of everything like that.
Except people.
Yeah. But then, we're not the Delta, but
right.
We're not far off. And when you think about
we're not ag. We don't have any,
not real
trees. You got forestry.
Forestry, and we had chickens, but that went away.
Too far from the facilities.
Well, because they closed them down. We had one here. We had a facility here, and I lost a lot of respect for Bo Pilgrim. Bo Pilgrim, I grew up thinking Jesus, Ronald Reagan, Bo Pilgrim. Sometimes 2 and 3 would switch. That's not true, but no, Bo Pilgrim had a lot of respect in my home growing up. We grew chickens for Bo Pilgrim.
Okay.
And back in the 90s, we had heard that he wanted to build a new feed mill, and we wanted that feed mill in our county. It was going to be a couple hundred jobs, and then again, those are going to be there forever because chickens in East Texas, that's the thing, right? We called Bo Pilgrim. He said, if you can meet me on the tarmac at the little municipal airport in Pittsburgh, Texas, I can give you 11 minutes. And in 11 minutes, we told him, we've got 4-lane highway to the front. We've got rail access to the back. We can get you water. We can get you everything you need if you'll build it there. He said, okay, I will. And he did. And so when Bo Pilgrim came here and bought our chicken plant, I was through the roof. I was like, great. He ended up owing us $900,000 for water.
Oh, wow.
And then when some of us went and talked to him, Bo, water department doesn't pay for itself now, but it sure don't if we got $1 million in outstanding debt.
Right.
And he said, I'm trying to keep a plant open, guys. I'm trying to keep the plant open. So we come up with a plan by usage for him to pay for it. In other words, we're going to raise your rate. We'll wipe out the $900,000 and we'll raise your rate. And then he closed the plant. Like simultaneously. All right, we wiped that debt off. Good, I'm closing the plant. I lost a lot of respect for Bo Pilgrim.
Yeah, I can
over
see
that.
I can see that.
Because he played the whole.
He didn't close the plant and say let somebody buy it. They took everything out of it.
They stripped it.
Sold it all, liquidated.
Probably just took it to one of his other facilities. He has one in DeQueen.
DeQueen, big one.
But I'm just,
Man,
you talk about population boom, by the way. When Bo Pilgrim got here, I got a call from a newspaper in, I want to say it was Uvalde, maybe it wasn't, but it was down in the Texas Valley. And it said, hey, do you know Bo Pilgrim is running newspaper ads in Mexico for laborers to come to El Dorado, Arkansas?
Heck yeah.
We took one of our 6 radio stations and made it Spanish overnight. Because
hired Spanish people?
We hired Spanish people because I knew what was coming. I've been in a Bo Pilgrim community before. I knew what was going to happen. And let me just tell you what you couldn't find, a rent house. You couldn't find a place to rent in El Dorado. and they're putting their kids in our schools. And here was the biggest thing I noticed about most of the people that were coming to town. Their kids were well behaved. When they went to school, they
were there to learn.
They were there to learn, And I have a cousin, she's a teacher, and it's a high Hispanic community. And she says, if I send a note home with little Jorge, because little Jorge's been being bad, she said the next day, mama, daddy, aunt, uncle, grandmother, grandfather, little brother, big brother, little sister, their priest from their church, they're all there. They want to know, what can we do
for Jorge
to be sure Jorge gets a good education.
Jorge better get a good education.
And she said, there's other kids I can send a note home, and the next day I get cussed out by their mom. Mm-hmm. Not my baby, And so we knew what was coming. I hated to lose. I mean, anyone hated to lose those jobs. Any community would hate to. But you were also dealing with a pretty cash-rich people that were moving in. So they weren't going to stores and had charge accounts that they never paid. They weren't going to stores and shoplifting. They were going to stores and paying cash money. And we had local businesses that were like, I may need to hire me a Spanish-speaking person because I've got a bunch. So I get it. We don't want to just open the doors of the border, right? We don't want to repeat of what just happened, 10, 15 million people, because we did find out later that, the people that Border Patrol were stopping, guess what? They stopped four people that are on known terror watch lists from the Middle East who were just walking across the border. That's not okay.
No.
But at the same time, I was a handler for a guy, state representative in Texas, and he's a Republican, and there was this, I say kid, I shouldn't say that, but he was a kid. He had not graduated college yet. We had to move our debate one time between the two of them because that was his college commencement ceremony. No. But he's running against my guy. And so I go to one of his rallies, and I swear to you, he sat there and he said, all these Mexicans coming in and getting our jobs, and these Mexicans doing anything, Mexicans doing that.
Gosh.
There was this old guy sitting next to me, and he said, hold on a minute, boy. He said, my name's J.C. Maxwell. I own a little country store out there. He said, them people you keep calling Mexicans, I call them customers. And he said, I've never taken a bad check from one of them. I've never caught one of them shoplifting. And if they do charge something in my store, by God, by tomorrow, they're down there paying it. So you leave my customers alone. That was the end of that rally. He said some other stuff I'm not going to repeat. But, that was the end of that rally. So I'm not a big, oh, no illegals at all. I think we have to fix how we are vetting people and letting them in.
No, that's right. And, I know we got federal laws that we have to abide by.
Yes.
So if we're going to go into immigration with this, but we do need that workforce. And there's got to be a happy medium somewhere. I mean, even Trump had to let them go up in Northwest Arkansas because there's nobody to work there.
Yeah.
And, your Tysons, your Walmarts.
Yeah, who's going to show up?
Yeah, let's be honest, roofers, construction workers, they actually keep the price down because they are good at what they do, and we just need them. And I know everybody wants to deport every Hispanic person that comes across the border, but we can't afford that.
No.
We don't have that workforce for those specialties.
I get it. We are a country of immigrants.
We are.
We are a melting pot.
But we need to find a way to
but we have to find a way to where it is balanced.
And what I've talked to most sheriffs, because they've made deals with ICE to get funding for the counties. It's a really good deal that ICE offers, but they don't mess with the good Hispanic immigrants. They focus more on the drunk drivers, the drug dealers, the bad ones that abuse their right of being here, period.
Yeah.
You hear that they want to add nice on the front of ICE, don't they? You hadn't heard that?
Yeah.
So that the liberal media has to say nice agents.
Yeah. Trump has proposed to put the word national in front of immigration customs enforcement. And so it'll be nice. The Democrats are just nice. Hey, listen, he's playing checkers where a lot of people are. He's playing chess where people are playing checkers.
For sure.
And do I wish he wouldn't tweet in the middle of the night? Yeah, I wish he wouldn't.
Sleep.
Wait, no, he doesn't.
Yeah.
Do I wish that sometimes he had a little more tact? Yes, I do.
Nah, he's not your Sunday
Yeah,
school
but we got
teacher.
a war.
No, but that's it.
We got a
not your
wartime
Sunday school
consigliere. Is what
That's
we got.
exactly what we've got.
You know, and most people like a little bit of dysfunction.
So much winning.
Yeah.
So much winning.
And people
It's
like
never
the
before.
dysfunction. You know, I think he did better his first term, but you know, ultimately, I think he is an asset. I think he has his heart in the right place.
I do too.
In a lot of things.
You know, I have no problem with government gridlock.
But I'm not a diehard anything federal because I don't agree with anything federal that we're doing. I mean, I just
You and me both.
I care about the state of Arkansas, and I know we need federal funds to operate.
Yes.
And we're one of the few
Let's turn
states.
back.
Well, you know what, though?
It is.
Not that we need it, we deserve it.
Yeah.
Because it's ours.
No, it's not. We're one of the few states that actually takes
More. I get what you're saying. But I'm saying for those of us who actually have to write a check to the IRS every year.
Right.
You know.
But the ones that don't, I mean, we're still getting more money.
We're getting more. But my point being that, yes, we have to have federal involvement based on these things. You know?
I'd rather be like that, secluded. Like, just give us our money, leave us alone. Don't bring your politics to our state.
Right.
And right now we have DC politics in Arkansas. It's how it is.
Arkansas politics, but it's not just Arkansas. It's national.
It is.
We've nationalized local politics. I told Rex Nelson when he was here. I said, you know, Tip O'Neill had the best saying back in the '80s, and that is, "All politics is local." And that's not the case anymore.
No.
You know, guy hardball, Chris Matthews. Chris Matthews tells a fabulous story about, you know, he gets out of college, a young liberal, and he wants to go out and make his impact, and he goes to Washington, D.C., and he wants to go to work, and he goes and sits down in front of this congressman who has an opening on his staff, and he said, "Son, what church do you go to?" And he's like, "I've never been asked that question before." He said, let's just me and you be honest with each other for a moment, okay? You Catholic? Yeah. And he said, and Irish? Yeah. How am I going to send you to Texas? Because that's where this job's at. And he said, no one's going to want to talk to you and you're going to hate it. Let me find you a gig, okay? And he actually ends up setting him up with Tip O'Neill, and that's how Chris Matthews went to work for Tip O'Neill. And then Chris Matthews said, one of the times when Ronald Reagan was there getting ready to do the State of the Union speech, the tradition is the president will wait in the speaker's office until they announce for him to come out. And he said, so my job, after he made chief of staff for Tip O'Neill, he said, my job was I'm entertaining the president. He said, I looked over at him and said, you know, I hate this guy. He said, Ronald Reagan, yeah. And he said, well, Mr. President, how does it feel to stand in the room where we plan your destruction every day? And he said, only till 5, Chris. Only till 5. And you know, that's classic Reagan.
Yeah.
You know? If you remember,
you
don't remember.
Yeah.
You do. Reagan ran as the outsider, right? You know, I think there was something about a swamp. As a matter of fact, I think Make America, what was it? Great Again. Yeah.
Reagan ran on that?
Yes.
I'll be damned.
Yeah, go back and look. Reagan ran on Make America Great Again.
I'll be damned.
But you know the first thing he did after he got elected? He put on one of them plaid sports jackets, and he went to the congressional barbecue. And he walked around and he sat down with everyone. And he was like, yeah, I ran as an outsider, but hey guys, I'm here to work with you. And it worked for the most part. I mean, you think about what was the top tax rate then? 73%? And we cut it to 37.
37, yeah.
Overnight. With a Democrat House and a Democrat Senate. How? Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, yeah. Ronald Reagan went in with an olive branch in his hand. President Trump went in with a piece of wood too. It was called a baseball bat. You know, so.
Well, that's what Arkansas needs right now. We need a baseball bat. I mean, you know, to break people of the habit that they're in. You know, if it changes over in November, which would be January 12th, if things do change over, and I do get that, you know, that what you call a miracle win, then, you know, I'm not going in to be nice. And we have a business to run, and we're not running a very good business right now. So there is going to be an unemployment line. I'd be almost 90% sure that unemployment line is going to grow from our state government, just because we've got to trim the fat. We need a smaller government, and we need more local control. We need to restructure all these boards that aren't functional. If you're failing, then we're going to find somebody that's going to pass.
Yeah, I am all for as many commissions and boards. I love the fact, City of El Dorado, I think we have 29 different commissions in the City of El Dorado. I love that. Here's why. Because that takes all the power. No, that means that not
one person has all the power.
Well, eight council members and one mayor have all the power.
Yeah, I'm not saying destroy them all. I'm saying restructure.
But you're right. If it's not operating, if it's not even meeting like it's supposed to, then do we really need that?
Then we don't need it.
Do we really need that?
Anybody
commission?
can fail.
That's right. It's real easy.
It's easy to fail.
Keep doing what you're doing.
That's right.
The Sunday that I gave my heart to Jesus, October 13th, 1991. Let me tell you one thing preacher said that really got my attention. He said, any dead fish can float downstream. Are you ready to be a man and serve God? And I remember that hit me. I was 19 years old. I'd been on my own for about 4 years at that point. I had put myself through high school. I put myself through technical school. I went to Votech, graduated, had a career in Votech, and I felt like I was a man. But he's like, any dead fish can float downstream. And so when I find myself coming up against the line of my comfort zone, I jump with both feet. Because any dead fish can float downstream. That's right. I have remembered that and used that, not just in my spiritual life, but in my overall life. I'm willing to jump in with both feet. I may have to swim back, but I'm willing to jump in with both feet because any dead fish can float downstream. And I think that we have to be ready to challenge ourselves. I told you at the beginning, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I
like that. I've been looking for something good because I'm a kind of guy that my glass is half full and I try to see the good in everyone. And I just haven't found it in her yet. Yeah. And I know there's something good in there. People say she was cool in high school. She was good. Maybe. But from what I've seen in my, a governor that not even the General Assembly can talk to is a problem. You have to talk to the staffers and talk to the governor. It's a problem. We need good relationships. And with not a dictator relationship, we need a good work relationship where we all have the same goal. I mean, the legislatures, they know what they're doing is wrong. They don't like a lot of the decisions that they're making because they get held accountable for it.
Call Matthew and get him over here real quick.
Which, Stone or Shepherd? I'd love it. I'd love that. Get him over here. Set him right over here side by side.
Listen, I'm always going to be a Matthew fan, and there's nothing that anybody can do about that. Although I had called Matthew one time, I said, Matthew.
Well, ask him about that $300 million he just voted for.
I said, Matthew.
No, serious. He is yours, and he should be held accountable for why did you vote for this? What do I need to know that you know that you could waste $300 million tax dollars?
I called
vote for it without knowing.
Without knowing.
Or without
well, we got to pass it to see what's in it.
There you go.
Remember
Nancy.
that? Yeah. Remember that?
We're going to jump over the wall, around the wall, through the wall.
Yeah.
And that is where people are oblivious to it. And that's where I told you earlier about that radio station in Northwest Arkansas. They a Facebook page, Conduit News, and they keep track of all that. Their big concern is cutting taxes and less government spending. And they're very well hated because they call out people that do. It don't matter if it's somebody that they put at the top of their list every time. They call out whoever's voting bad. They keep a scorecard.
Here's my dilemma with that. And I'm not saying it happens with them because I know nothing about them.
Right.
But my experience has been, once someone makes your bad list, then I think there is a tendency to become overly critical of them, so that when they do something well or do something right, you don't give them any credit, because then that ruins the fact that you've been calling them an idiot this entire time.
I'm different than that, because we got one up there in Crawford County, Ryan Rose is his name. Don't like the way he votes at all. The man can't even stand me. He's a preacher, and he rebuked me.
Nice.
And then one of the senators asked him, like, well, who are you, Moses? And anyway, so then he voted no for that $300 million and got up there and gave this big speech. And I was like, great job. I could give praise when praise is due.
Yeah.
But then he turns around and votes for bringing that $300 million out of appropriation. So he voted against the bill. Then he turns around and votes to pull it out. It's the same thing. The governor put herself in that position The General Assembly should not be pulling her out of it. That's just all there is to it.
I called Matthew and I was like, hey, Matthew, I said, the governor is trying to skip by on FOIA. No, it's security. I said, don't give me that. I said, Matthew, you and I know that the real reason she doesn't want to disclose that is because she doesn't want Arkansas to know she's going to Massachusetts and Connecticut and raising money.
She's doing her tour for her next level.
For the national party. Yeah. That's what this is about.
It is. We know.
And I said, I've sat on planes with huge stars, way more popular than our governor, and they have no trouble, I said, but you cannot, I don't care what the reason is, you can't hide it. And, Boomer and I talked about it recently. This year, especially locally here in El Dorado, transparency is the word. It's the buzzword, right?
Yeah.
And someone asked me, said, what's going on? Why is this the buzzword? And they were actually kind of, I guess transparency is the buzzword. I said, whoa, stop. I said, you want to know why? I said, tell me in 2016 who received the Democrat nomination for president. Well, Hillary Clinton. Yeah, now tell me who got the most votes. Oh, Bernie Sanders. Yeah, so how does that work? Tell me in 2020 who got the nomination from the Democratic Party. Well, Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. Who got the most votes? Bernie Sanders. Yeah. Remember in Iowa in 2024 when they said, or I'm sorry, in 2020, they're counting the votes, and it's the first time they did them electronically, right? And so every time a scan went through, it would pop up on the screen. And when that number between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden kept getting bigger, all of a sudden it all malfunctioned. Do you even realize that Iowa did not have a caucus that year? They had one. But no one knows who won it because evidently the voting machine, and it deleted all the data. What do you know?
Yeah, when you want to look at it.
You want to tell me that the 2020 election was hands down one of the most clean elections ever. Mm-hmm. Bull, you know what?
Yep.
And so that's why the word transparency.
It doesn't exist in our world right now.
It really does not.
It doesn't.
And look.
And I just care about state government, like I said, and for the most part. But if you want to use FOIA, have you ever FOIA'd anything?
Yes,
I have. Remember, you have. So try tomorrow. Have you tried to FOIA anything out of the governor's office?
No.
Try it. I'll show you about 300 emails. What you'll get back. They are exempt from this. They're exempt from this. You don't know where your money's going. You're not going to find out where your money's going, and it's none of your business where your money's going. And that's what you get every single time because they're covered under that exemption. Anything to do with the executive branch. That's Sarah and all our people.
Oh, I know.
And I would open that up because, and I'll tell you why. There is no better investigator in this world than a concerned citizen. And if somebody's doing something wrong, and I would put an independent person that would have access. That way it's not, because right now it's based off from a trust, right? Like, hey, Boomer, I need you to send me all your emails to Sandy that you did within the last 2 weeks. And you're like, okay, you'd probably say, okay, no big deal, here they are, have fun. We don't see that so much anymore. It's like, whoa, no emails, sorry, I didn't email Sandy at all. And so that trust system isn't so trustworthy. Right?
And then they said, okay, well, send us the texts. And they're like,
didn't talk to him.
Didn't have any texts. And so but then we find out, and I'm not talking about locally.
So then you got to get in a lawyer. Then you sue them, and then you could get access to if they did delete any emails, if any email trails went back and forth. But this is a time, money consuming project, right?
Yeah. And then we find out they're talking to each other on Signal, through encryption, and poor Pete Hegseth, he
messed that up.
There's a guy who just can't read a room, man. No. Can't read a room. Now, I'm going to tell you this. That White House, I told this Boomer last week, that White House Correspondents' Dinner, when they heard gunshots, he shoved his wife under the table, he shoved them other people at his table down, and then he stood up. He didn't go under his table. He stood up, and the look on his face was like, where's the danger? I give it to Pete. And there were some people giving...
I like the old man that was just over eating. Yeah. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's shooting going off. He's
then they showed people after there was all stealing the wine off the tables. Not a good look.
Yeah,
you say it?
No, they were giving RFK Jr. hell about he was. I don't remember the exact wording, but basically, he kind of acted like a scaredy cat. I'm like, well, if there's anybody we're going to cut slack, how about the guy whose dad and uncle were both murdered and assassinated?
Yeah.
I'm going to cut that. I'm going to show a little grace his way, okay?
He gets to hide.
I'm going to let him.
He'd be hitting the deck.
I would be too. I don't blame him.
Yeah,
I've been getting a salad bowl over my head.
Well, I tell you what, let's take another break. We'll come back and we'll wrap this thing up, okay?
All right.
We're going to be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
Non-stop phone calls, registered mail, repossessions, or threats of lawsuits from creditors, and it seems like no one is willing to let you hit pause and just catch your breath. You need the help of Robert Rushing and the Rushing Law Firm. Bankruptcy is not the end. It could be a chance for a fresh start. The Rushing Law Firm goes to work for you, letting you hit that pause button and start over. Call the Rushing Law Firm today at 870-875-2940 or stop by the office at 725 Northwest Avenue in El Dorado. The Rushing Law Firm.
Experience, courage, common sense. All of these are traits we want in any elected position, but especially in the man we will pick as our next sheriff. Michael Fife hasn't just been in law enforcement for 30 plus years. He's the one who answers the call in the middle of the night, putting himself last and Union County first, looking folks in the eye, doing what's right, standing up for all of us. Vote for Michael Fife for Union County Sheriff.
Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com.
What if I get in a fender bender?
State Farm's there with the assist.
Jersey swap?
Jersey swap.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Oh, I'm feeling this.
I assisted with security things. Swap.
I assisted with popcorn.
Swap.
Get that jersey.
Get your corn, Eric.
Hey, I assisted myself by filing a claim on the State Farm app.
Swap.
In my halftime show, I
It's
had
a great story.
We're done swapping. Too late, circus man.
State Farm with the assist.
When it comes to your family's financial future, peace of mind matters. At Harrison Financial Management, they are right here to help you plan, grow, and protect what matters most. Whether you're planning for retirement, investing wisely, or securing your family's future, they will guide you every step of the way. Harrison Financial Management, your future, their commitment.
Everybody loves a parade, and Hilarious Pizza throws parades all week long. Bring the family in for your favorites, or explore the variety that Hilarious Pizza offers. Come join us at Hilarious Pizza for the greatest parade ever.
When it comes to protecting your home or business, trust the name that's been serving South Arkansas for 3 generations, Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal. From residential roofs to large commercial projects, the experienced team at Cross delivers quality you can see and reliability you can count on. Cross Roofing and Sheet Metal, built on trust, proven by results. Call Cross Roofing today. Put a solid future over your head.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch, and I promise you, y'all will never see any of that previous conversation, but that was a lot of fun, except for one sourpuss. Again, I'm not going to say any names. I'm going to point and whistle. Our special guest is Colt Shelby, and I, a couple weeks ago, I called you Colt McCoy, and I said, no, that's not right. I said, that was a quarterback in college, and I said, that's not right. Yeah. Colt Shelby is our guest, and Colt is the Libertarian candidate for governor of Arkansas in 2026. And you hadn't said a whole lot I disagree with you about.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm not a taco. I want to do what I feel is best, and ultimately I'm not going to be making these decisions, right? The governor, just because you want it, it's not how it goes.
It shouldn't.
It's not how it's designed. My ideas may not be the best ideas for all of Arkansas, but because I try to look at the lower middle class when I look at things, and right now I see our state hurting, and when I see that, it bothers me. And whether it's, like I said earlier, the data centers or people get bombarded with things, because I know firsthand what it's like to get something shoved down your throat that you don't want. Because, Franklin County is the one that originally started that, hey, we're going to put a prison here and you're going to like it. And now it's gone across the state.
Yeah.
And, something I didn't talk about, I did talk a little bit about the Illinois watershed, Northwest Arkansas, but also the IDAs. Have y'all heard about those up there? So Industrial Development Authority. So basically, look up IDAs, because they passed 2 last session. And Beatty was in part of both of them. And basically, that is a way for industrial development to oversee more power than your quorum courts and your county judge. So basically, it'll take them out of the picture. If they want to eminent domain your property,
that's them.
That's them.
Yeah. And don't get me started on eminent domain.
Yeah,
that's everybody in Arkansas. And so watch out for them IDAs. They did pass 2 bills. They tried to get, and it's so crazy. Like, why would you get Washington? Well, I take that back. We know why they would get Washington County, Benton County, and Madison County. Those were the 3, and those are big voting places.
Well, that's Rogers, Bentonville, and Springdale.
And Sanders actually signed a statement wanting them to pass so that the Waltons and Tysons and J.B. Hunts could have that property.
There have been good things come out of eminent domain. There have been, but it's still fundamentally wrong.
No, it's wrong.
It's fundamentally wrong.
Yeah.
We don't steal from people.
Bingo.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you think you're paying them good market value. What is good market value? Because I can tell you, so for example, I could never sell my house for what the county has it appraised at.
We'll talk about,
I could also never sell it for what my insurance company has it appraised at.
Yeah.
And
that's replacement value. That's to build it again.
So what is good market value?
And nor will you get that from your insurance company either.
Right, exactly. Whole different story. But I'm not hating on insurance companies, or not agents. How about that?
There you go.
I'm not hating on agents.
It's not the agent's fault.
It's not the agent's fault. It's people who packed away in an office somewhere.
Actuaries.
Never going to get in trouble. This is what I always remind people. There's never been an adjuster who's gotten in trouble for not writing a check.
Yeah.
Just not one time ever.
Yeah.
There's never been an adjuster who got in trouble for denying a claim. Mm-hmm. Never happened.
Yeah.
Actually, I had to physically threaten an adjuster to get off my roof one time.
Forget that.
Yeah. Had to physically threaten him. And I was like, you got to get off my roof. And he's like, well, there's an appeal. I know there's an appeals process, and I'm going to say it one more time before I push you off my roof. Get off my roof. I appealed, and they sent an independent adjuster out, and he's like, man, I don't know what he was looking at. He said,
but there's hail
damage everywhere. He said, give me about an hour. And he cut me a check.
Did you go up there with the ball peen hammer?
No. Listen, I have never understood people who will damage their own property for money.
No. Yeah.
I don't get it.
To get the same result.
I've seen people take a sock full of nickels.
Sir, hail does not look like golf balls.
Yeah, it doesn't have dimples.
It doesn't have dimples.
My favorite was, there was a guy who told me, man, I got some hail damage. And I went and looked at his car, and I was like, player, that's not hail damage. That's a yellow pole, a Sonic is what that is. And he's like, you think so? And I reached down there and said, I flicked that piece of yellow paint off, went, and I said, look, this may be your first claim, but it's not State Farm's.
Right.
Okay. And I would much rather go through an IRS audit than an insurance investigation. I said, those guys.
They're packing guns.
Those guys don't play.
Yeah.
Maybe not on their hip.
And I had 2 investigators show up to look at a case one time. And I asked one of them, I said, so what branch of military were you in? And he said, shows, huh? And I was like, yeah. He said, Airborne Ranger. And he said, then when I got out of that, he was a
state trooper, wasn't he?
Texas Ranger.
Texas Ranger. Yeah.
The other guy was a Green Beret, and then he went to Texas Department of Public Safety as a trooper and retired from there. And these are the guys who are heading up insurance investigations. Mm-hmm. I don't know what people know about Texas Rangers, but you can't be a dummy.
No.
And be a Texas Ranger.
No.
Those guys, they're bad to the bone. But anyway.
Where are you heading next, Colt?
Well, I don't know. Where are we going, Dad?
I mean, besides home.
Oh, where did I?
Where are you going next? Your next appearance?
What's your campaign?
We'll be in Little Rock tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said that earlier.
Yeah, I'll be. Who is it? The Southwest Times. No, it's who? What is
Arkansas
it?
Times.
Arkansas Times. The
Yeah.
Arkansas Times have an event tomorrow there in Little Rock. Got to go get my pictures because I still hadn't done that. And
You gonna put a suit on? You gonna put a suit on for that?
yeah, I'll suit up for that one.
You know, look like this, looking down. At you.
You know, I just don't look good in a suit. It just doesn't fit this
Doesn't
body.
fit the image?
No.
You're a roughneck.
I'm a roughneck.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll put one on because I respect the rules of the Capitol. I ain't gotta like it, but I still gotta put it on.
Yeah, remind me. I think there was a state senator who went in a pair of cutoffs. Oh, never mind.
Yep, there was.
Never mind. You know, I could ask you about thousands and thousands of issues. You know,
Yes.
I've been making questions. You can see I've been making questions for weeks now ever since you somehow.
Well, these are everyday concerns that every Arkansan has, though.
You
know,
somehow foolishly agreed to come on this podcast, caring zero about your reputation by coming on here with us.
I mean, what do I have to lose here? I'm fighting for the state of Arkansas. There's no selfish motives behind this. I'm going to try to better my state from what it is now. I think I can do with a team more than any governor's ever done in the past.
I think it'd be great.
I really believe I could do that.
Hope it happens.
Me too.
You know, normally when someone says, as governor, I can do more, you think, no, I don't want you doing more.
No,
I want you doing less.
I think I could do better.
I think I understand you saying I can change it for the better.
When you're got all your statistics are all the way down here, you've only got one way
there's
to
only
go.
one direction to go, right?
Like there's no way it could go worse. So
Hey,
now would be the time.
Think if we got to 40th. Just think if we got the 40th.
All it's got to do
we
is
can
move
throw a
up
celebration.
and you could just pick a category. Like you could just spin the wheel and be like, just try to fix at least 3 things. But I want to fix the major ones, and that's the crime, the education, and the economy.
Yeah, I would.
Those
just
are my
say
3 biggest
a
things I want
close
to hit on.
fourth.
But
It has to be rural hospitals.
Yeah, well, that's part of the economy to me.
Okay.
The economy is the law enforcement, the hospitals, the water infrastructure, just the economy as a whole. Because once we fix that problem, people are actually going to be attracted to Arkansas.
That's what I was going to say. If it makes it so much easier to go out and recruit, somebody says, "Hey, we're looking at building an Amazon distribution
a steel
center."
mill. Would you want to put a steel mill in a place with no hospital?
Right.
Yeah.
That makes no sense.
It makes it a lot easier though if they know from day one they can hook right into the water supply and it's there.
Well, yeah. Would you want to put a chicken factory in where there's no water?
Right.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, let me tell you what we did years ago. We created a method by which we can get our water for the industry from the Washita.
And the effluent, after they use it for what they use it for,
goes back.
It's cleaned and
How
dumped back
clean?
in. No, it's clean.
What industry?
Well, we have
the logging?
2 oil refineries here. The only 2 in the state are
Right.
both in Union
Yep,
County.
yep.
We have a chemical fertilizer manufacturing plant.
And then
Bromine.
ConAgra was on it.
Yeah, ConAgra
But
was on it.
They're not there anymore. So
But bromine, of course, lithium. That's the new
hope.
What's that?
Our new hope.
It's just a hope. Have you looked at the numbers of Standard Oil? They've spent like $300 million. Have you seen their profit margin?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's nothing there yet.
No, it's 0.
Yeah, there's nothing there yet.
And then Pennsylvania just found a place that's bigger than the one in Arkansas that they could dig. Digging's cheaper than drilling.
They don't have to drill. We've already drilled. The wells are already there.
Yeah, but it's the bromine that comes out after they separate it with each. So they still do have to drill more. They still have to drill more. Like that's not enough. It's not it's not a sufficient amount. There's still more wells that have to drill to get that lithium out of that bromine. But we hope it works out.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's certainly in infancy. That's for sure.
There's more on the news than what's in the budget for the drilling companies.
I agree. But they are building that big refinery over in Louisville.
They've been building that for quite some time, I think, right?
Couple years.
Yeah.
So
we'll see when it starts moving in.
But again, when they called it a pipe dream when we started talking about lithium 20-something years ago, and then we had an industry that came in and built a plant, and they were using it because you can't transport lithium. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
So the hope is, and I only found this out because I started going to all these lithium conferences, right? Because I'm one of those that I want to educate myself.
Well, you got to know because the state of Arkansas is not going to do it for you.
Right. So I start going to these lithium conferences, and what I'm finding out is it's not so much the lithium. If they can successfully refine the lithium from the bromine, then they have it. But again, lithium is not cost effective to transport.
Right.
So then you have all these industries that depend on lithium that have to build
plants.
close to the source.
Right.
And you know, everyone says battery plants because that's where we hear it the most, but it's like less than 4% of lithium is used for batteries. So I've been in some rooms that I had to sign non-disclosure agreements about, so I can't say.
Oh, here you go.
But
you might as well join the Senate.
Yeah, whatever. The difference is I'm a private citizen. I'm allowed to have secrets.
Yeah.
I'm not an elected official.
Oh, you're not. Yeah.
Didn't Exxon invest a lot of money in this as an Exxon?
Yeah, the Smackover field.
Yeah.
And
they've bought a lot of
they
property. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's just the number of companies. And let me tell you how I know, not saying this is going to be that same way, but let me tell you how it works. In the 90s, there was a company called Louisiana Energy that wanted to build a uranium enrichment facility right down the road, right across the state line. Right across the state line. Uranium enrichment. There was a group of environmentalists who come back and said that's environmental racism. You're building in a place that's 90+% African Americans, and you can't do that. And they fought them so much that finally Louisiana Energy said fine. They backed out. They then went to Hobbs, New Mexico, and built that plant. Mm-hmm. The day that plant was built in Hobbs, New Mexico, 7 other companies announced their intention to break ground there. And because there's 7 byproducts that come off of uranium when you enrich it. And they wanted those byproducts. When I went to Hobbs, New Mexico the first time in 2002, there were maybe 2 paved streets in a town of 50,000 people. 2. I think they just finished building their second Home Depot and their second Lowe's.
Yeah, it's big now.
Hobbs has exploded.
Yeah,
You're out there a lot, you know. It's and that all could have happened right here. And in 20 years, they've not had.
And that's if the town wants it, right? Like, yeah. I mean, the good thing about oil wells, and I am in the oil and gas industry, so a little biased, but they do have a small footprint. Mm-hmm. And the landowners generally have some compensation for the service damage and the bottom, and it's not a big noise maker either. So, but my biggest deal is, do the people want it here?
They didn't get a chance to be asked in this instance.
Well, El Dorado's, this is an old town, right?
Yeah, oil and chemical, yeah.
It's an oil and chemical town, so it's nothing new to them to have a drilling rig out here.
Listen, if we're worried about, nuclear mishap of some sort, there's been so very few of those in the history of mankind. Right. It's unreal. But I'm not nearly as worried about a nuclear facility as I am a couple of the other chemicals that float through town here, and because there's one.
I mean, y'all have your own emergency management system here, so.
Colt, good to have you, man. It's good to have you. It's good to have you. Because if I don't stop, I won't stop.
We'll just keep going forever.
I won't stop. So good to have you. You have an open invitation.
No, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah, we want you to come back.
And I've enjoyed it. Next time maybe we could sit on a porch and have a beer and do this.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Actually, you led into what I was going to close with today, and that is we have an exciting announcement coming up. We've had a lot of those, haven't we? Mm-hmm. Man, God's been good, and I mean real good. We are much further along with this company than we ever thought we would be at this point. And we are soon to cut the ribbon on our first brick and mortar location.
Oh, congratulations.
Meaning that I can actually take all this editing and video equipment out of my baby nook in my master bedroom, because it turned into my office. Once my smallest one got big enough to have his own bed,
had to move out of his room.
To move him out. So
that's great. But we do ours in my basement.
Cool. There you go. That's cool. Yep. Listen, if I didn't mind people being at my house, it'd be one thing, but I don't want people at my house.
No, my wife does not want people at the house. Yeah. I'll tell you how bad it is. Now I'm going to get long-winded on you. Sorry. But so our house, we have an underground basement, and I decked it out. I always have to show you a picture.
Man cave, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's a real man cave, though. And we remodeled it. My wife said no guns on the wall. Well,
Except
What?
for these.
oh, there's a whole bunch of them. I'll show you a picture after this. But anyway, so
Which one of the Kennedys did you marry? No guns on the wall.
No, she said no guns on the wall, so I'm decked out. Guns everywhere, whether it's ARs, double barrels,
I love it.
pistols, and so my friends, where was I? Oh, after the lawsuit, they wanted to have a podcast. So I'm like, okay, well, I had a bull that had got checked, and I was taking him to the pasture. I stopped off at the vet clinic, picked up my bull to make sure, and he was good. And I said, I got to take him to the field. And I took him out there and dumped him out with the ladies, and then go dump the trailer, and I come back home. Well, they'd been there at my house for an hour. And I run upstairs, kiss my wife, say, hey, I made it back. And she was like, okay. I was like, did they bother you? She's like, who? She didn't even know they were there.
They came in.
Yeah.
There's an entrance to the basement?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just walk right in. So they've been down there for an hour having a beer, just talking, and she never even knew they were there.
Awesome.
Like, oh.
So, did I hear an invitation for Boomer and I to come be on your podcast?
Oh, absolutely. If y'all ever want to come to Franklin County, I would love that.
Man, I'm game.
Yeah, y'all ever
can't scare me.
Get some time, we'll get a schedule down. Y'all come up there.
We had there was a national.
You'll realize why we live there once you get there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a national figure that we've been talking with about coming on our podcast, and he said, "Man, this would be a lot easier if you were in Dallas." I said, "Hell, you want to meet you in Dallas?" I said, "We can fly to Dallas."
Dallas. We'll fly to Dallas.
We'll fly to Dallas. We got jet service to Dallas from El Dorado. And I said, "We'll fly to Dallas." I said, "Can you pick us up?" And he's like, "Yeah." I said, "Let's make it happen." Well, we hadn't yet.
But JR?
No, JR's not in Dallas. He's in Nashville.
No, I mean, Dallas JR.
Oh, J.R. Ewing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Again.
Dated 1970s.
He's 70, ladies and gentlemen. You'll just have to forgive him for that.
He didn't die.
All right, that's going to do it for us this week. Again, thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to you, because without you, we'd just be talking to ourselves like we normally do. And again, thanks to our special guest, Colt. We appreciate it. Again,
glad you're here.
I don't say things I don't mean, and one of those is when I say you have an open invitation, you have an open invitation anytime.
No, I appreciate it.
And so we wish you the best of luck, and we will see you next time here on Off the Back Porch. God bless. Have a great weekend.
With a history of being the voices you trust, this is Off the Back Porch.